Tariffs with the millions.
It's that world heavyweight flow. Championship belt wrapped around my waist, yo. I got that Ric Flair figure flow. Slam you on the pavement, that's why they call me Street Pro. Create heat on beat flow. Like Jordan after the second time he three-peated, folks. Get ready, set, let's go. Fight toe to toe, release the flow created by this mic pro. Lights, camera, get low. Action back to back. In fact, this monster will grow. Y'all better let him know. Man with the master plan, and you have no need to know. You came prepared, now get ready for the show.
Sports Professor. Oh, shit. Yo, what up, friends? You know who it is. Omar, the Professor Fonseca, and yes, we are back with another installment of The Professor's Semanalmente. Yeah, your boy's in a good, I'm about to say your boy is in a good mood, baby. Let's get it rocking and rolling. You see me, usually I come booted to the nines with a suit on, but it is my birthday week. Ah, yes, it is my birthday week, and I will be going to cover WrestleMania in Vegas. Then I'll be going back to Virginia to see all my friends and family. Then I'll be going next week to Costa Rica with some of my boys. After that, back to Virginia for a week, and then off to Puerto Rico to go see La Familia. So your boy will be traveling back and forth here and there, jet setting, reminding you a little bit of who. Oh, we know who. We know who's coming next. Our boy. Give it to me. Give it to me, Rick.
You and I are limousine ride, jet flying, get stealing, wheeling dealing, son of a gun. Woo, 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 woo.
Yes, you already know that is how we are going to get down on my vacation. So you see, I'm already tropicaled out, ready for Costa Rica, ready for Puerto Rico, ready for Vegas, ready for all of the amazing times to come through in the next month. So please make sure you are subscribed at Ball and Buds, BALLANDBUDS. There's also a handy QR code up at the top. You can go ahead and scan that, take it to our link tree. You can subscribe to our YouTube, follow our Instagram, find The Bottom Line Sports, which, by the way, tomorrow night, big week this week for Ball and Buds. Huge week. Huge. I wish I could do a better Donald Trump voice. Huge week for Ball and Buds. All right, y'all. Tonight you got the Professor on with you. I'm gonna hit you with news, entertainment, and sports today. Yes, we're gonna talk Masters winning, Rory winning the Masters. We're gonna talk NBA, NHL playoffs. We're gonna talk Donald Trump, our weekly update on his tariffs and the world response to those tariffs. We'll also talk Ukraine and Russia. I will give you an update on the Iran nuclear negotiations as well. Today's gonna be jam-packed. I'm gonna try to fit it all in an hour, because I know the go-home show for Raw is tonight, and I know all my wrestling fans are going to want to be watching that. I will see y'all in Vegas this weekend. If you're watching, please hit that like button, maybe a laugh, maybe a heart, little love laugh, home decor photo, whatever you want to call it. It is free to you, but I cannot tell you how invaluable it is to us. When YouTube sees that y'all like the video, it will promote it in the algorithm and boost it to other people for them to check out our content. I would be truly appreciative and humble if you would like and share this video, or just like it. I don't have to ask too much. Again, look at it. Thank you so much for hitting that like button, somebody. Come on, give me some more. Thank you to my producer for checking in. I appreciate that. All right, let's kick this bad boy off. First of all, update. I know we've been giving updates. Well, because Easter is Sunday, right? Easter is Sunday, Good Friday, Easter Sunday. You'll hear from you'll hear some of your Christian friends saying he has risen to annotate the rising of Jesus Christ after the resurrection and the ascension into heaven. So that is what you will hear when they say that. So happy Easter to all of my fellow Christians out there. But an update on the Pope, looking very good, came out to the crowd of the Vatican this past weekend. No oxygen, pump thing that he was using beforehand. He did not have that on him, so hopefully he is getting back stronger and stronger every day. Prayers up to the Pope. Tax day is tomorrow. Do not forget tax day. If you have not filed your taxes, you can file an extension that will get you through October, but you need to make sure that you do file that by tomorrow. It is free to file extensions. Cool. All right. Again, as I mentioned, this week is a big week. Tomorrow night, Bottom Line Sports. Check us out. Join the Facebook group. We will have NFL and DMV insider Shane Peter. We'll talk Alex Ovechkin. We'll talk all things DMV, as well as do an NFL mock draft. Then Wednesday, banter, brawls, bravado, WrestleMania edition, hot take Jake, Shane Peter again joining us for a second day in a row. And our boy Wild Car Mar will be spitting on WrestleMania on Wednesday. And then finally Sunday, y'all. Sunday, if you want to tune in, Clubber D, the Combat G, and yours truly, we will be doing a live reaction to night 2 of WrestleMania. So you'll be able to see us laughing and making jokes and doing all this craziness all Sunday evening. Join us then. Okay, here we go. Let's start it off with our sports coverage for the day. What up, Pops? Appreciate it. Thank you for tuning in. Again, make sure y'all hit that like button for me. It does help us out. And if you owe, you have to send an estimated payment. Yes, you are supposed to send an estimated payment if you owe money. I can't say necessarily that they will penalize you for that, because I've actually done that before where I owed and I didn't send an estimated payment and I just filed the extension and paid it later and they never said anything. But don't try to be a rebel like me. I am a bad boy. I am a bad person. You may not live my life because your parents wouldn't like the way you ended up. All right, I'm just joking. All right, let's keep it moving. Cool. Masters this weekend. What happened? Rory McIlroy finally got the monkey, the huge gorilla, off of his back. Yes, Rory McIlroy is now he's now an all 4 major winner, which means he's won the Grand Slam in golf, as he's won the U.S. Open, the British Open, now called just the Open, the PGA Championship, and the all-heralded Masters this past weekend in Augusta. What happened? Rory McIlroy, this is the only tournament he hadn't won. The last time he won was in 2014 when he won his last PGA Championship. 10 years without a title. 10 years, and he had never had this one. And boy, everybody was hyping him up to win it. All the legends at the pregame dinners and things, or at the pre-tournament dinners, were saying how they expected him to win because he's playing the best golf of his career, and surely he has been. Let's start it off and let's set the scene for you. Beautiful Augusta National Golf Course. I mean, I'm telling you, I was there this past weekend. It is beautiful. The hues of the azaleas are tremendous. All right, 5:38 p.m. Sunday evening. Rory McIlroy, Justin Rose tied at the top of the leaderboard. Rose goes up a stroke, and then at 5:57, a 3-way tie, including Ludwig Aberg. So now we're moving from being in a tie to being in a 3-way tie. Is starting to slip away from Rory, or is it at 6:10, the greatest 7-iron of McIlroy's life, leading to a birdie on 15, 6:14 p.m., 20-foot birdie putt from Justin Rose on hole 18 to go down, or to stay 1 stroke behind. 6:53. No, you've got to be kidding me, Rory. I texted my pops and I said, this bum is going to blow it again like usual. And look, am I the biggest Rory McIlroy fan in the world? No, not really. I think he's kind of smug and cocky and arrogant. I don't really care for his personality that much. Kind of reminds me of a Novak Djokovic in tennis. But he's an amazing golfer, and that's really all that matters. No one needs to like you for you to be a great golfer. So anyways, 6:53, all he needs to do is make par on 18, and he gaps the putt. He misses it. He misses the putt to go tied and to have to go into overtime. All I could do was shake my head in disbelief, thinking, geez Louise, this guy is going to blow it again. So, yeah, Albatross was getting fat. Yes, it was all over that neck. Amul, shout out. Thank you for tuning in, my brother. Well, see, you missed the beginning of the episode, and that's okay. You would have heard all of the things about my birthday plans, including going to Costa Rica and Puerto Rico. So that's why you see your boy in a tropical get-up, because I'm a little ready for my birthday a little early. Stella about to get his groove back, if you know what I mean. IYK? Is that how the kids say it these days? I don't know. All right. I'm not a kid. I'm a grown-ass man. Let's keep it moving. He did withstand a lot of criticism, and you know what? Even though he missed that putt on 18 to have to go into overtime with Justin Rhodes, he made a birdie on the first hole, and Justin Rhodes could not tie him, and Rory McIlroy finally takes home the coveted Masters that he's missed for so long. Salute to Rory McIlroy for that was a performance of a lifetime, because like was mentioned earlier, that albatross around his neck was getting a little hefty, and he could feel the weight. And when you saw him miss that putt, you could just see it in his eyes. You could see, was everything starting to fall apart? He starts wondering. But then once he hit that putt and you saw the emotion come out, he yelled a primordial scream. What a great word for a Puerto Rican on a live TV show. A primordial scream from Rory to the heavens. Let it out. His wife, his kids come over. They surround him. It's a joyous scene, a joyous occasion. So salute to Rory McIlroy. Hey, salute to Bianca as well. Shout out. Y'all type in with Bianca and Rock Chalk True Crime. If you like true crime, all y'all true crime lovers out there, check out Rock Chalk True Crime, the best true crime podcast on YouTube, hands down. Salute to Bianca. Y'all hit that like button. But yeah, we did like what McIlroy did, and what he also did was become only the 6th member to join the Grand Slam club, including Tiger Woods, obviously, Gary Player, Ben Hogan, Gene Sarazen, and the immaculate and great Jack Nicklaus in winning the career Grand Slam. So, that's really good, and especially for his future career earnings. He already makes a lot of money with endorsements, and he just started the TGL with Tiger, the Indoor Virtual Golf League. He also has Nike, TaylorMade endorsements, but all the other people on that list of Grand Slam champions went on to do so much more, like building their own golf courses and other things. So putting on that green jacket, and even more having the 4 majors, puts you on an extended platform above anyone else in golf's history. So that's just all it is. All right, cool. Hey, shout out. There it is. Rock Chalk. Yes, leaving that DNA. I appreciate it. Y'all make sure you leave your DNA on the stream as well. Hit that like button for me, please, if you're watching. And yeah, check out True Crime, Rock Chalk, if you like that True Crime podcast. Yes, you already know. Yeah, how about that? Your boy called it. Hey, look, Clubber D was 4-1. I got to give it to my boy, because he's the expert. He is the UFC, MMA, boxing expert, combat sports expert. So I got to give it to him. He was 4-1 in his picks this past weekend, his club bangers. But he got one wrong, and your boy, the sports professor, got it right. I was not going to go against my boy Volk, and he did it, outlasting Diego Lopez in an electric bout. But how about our boy Patty the Batty as well? Patty the Batty got it in with a masterful performance over the OG Michael Chandler. He is no soft cookie. He is one tough cookie. And Patty dismantled him in a performance that, I mean, Michael Chandler came out bloodied and bruised, and Patty Pimblett was walking like he ain't even had broken a damn sweat. So shout out to both Volkanovski and Patty the Batty. So yeah, and thank you all for tuning in. All right, let's keep it moving on. In our next sports story, wow, this hits home. This is right here in Tennessee. Shout out to the Knoxville, or shout out to everybody in Knoxville down at the Volunteers. But University of Tennessee had a huge crazy story this weekend. So what happened? Their star quarterback, and I pronounced his last name. I practiced his last name all day today, so I really hope I don't butcher this. Nico Iamaleava. Boom! Nailed it. Let's go. I nailed it. Iamaleava. Tennessee's redshirt sophomore quarterback surprised Volunteers coaches and players when he did not show up to spring practice on Friday. Why? Get this, y'all. Seeking a new NIL contract, and he decided to hold out. Could not believe it. Yeah. Hey, he got taken out. Bryce Mitchell got taken out. Doug Nasty, he got taken out. He got choked out. And it was crazy that I read an article, or saw a video earlier. Dave Portnoy, who was there, was waving the Israel flag after he got put to sleep. So I was like, ooh, well, guess you shouldn't have said all that stuff about the Holocaust, should you have? Ain't talking about none of that here. But anyways, yeah, so the end contract, he holds out. He doesn't show up to practice on Friday. Could we imagine this, y'all? 15, 20 years ago? I mean, for the love of everything, Bear Bryant would be rolling over in his grave if he heard something like this. These kids are now holding out for millions of dollars. And let's be completely honest. He is not even a proven commodity yet. Now, granted, as I always say, here in the United States, this is a society built off of capitalism. You make whatever somebody's willing to pay you. The market value of what you are worth is what you should try to get. Now, we usually hold that to strictly professional ranks. But since the NCAA for so long held down, and y'all know how I feel about this. If you've watched The Mind of the Professor, if you've seen me talk about it at all here on this channel about the NCAA, first of all, I despise the NCAA. They're one of the worst and most corrupt organizations on the planet. And the fact that they held on to with the buoyancy, what another great word for a Puerto Rican on a live TV show, to the bullshit concept of amateurism since the early 1900s, when they started amateurism and decided that college students were not professionals and therefore not entitled to compensation and strictly only entitled to a college degree, they decided that amateurism was the name of the game, and that held strong for 100 years until the O'Bannon case. Ed O'Bannon at UCLA, shout out my Bruins, 8-clap. Ed O'Bannon, when they started to try to get the NIL deals for the NCAA basketball video game, it started an avalanche. It started a snowball effect. To now, if you remember last week on this very program, I told you about Claudia Wilkin, the judge in California, who's now deciding on the NCAA amateurism case, which, by the way, I might as well update you on that right now. She came back and told them that she would approve the NCAA going forward with all the colleges having a salary cap of $20.5 million that they can give out to students, whereas there will be no more NIL collectives and things like that. She said she's going to approve it as long as they fix the roster limits, because what's happening now is NCAA wanted roster limits, and what was happening, unfortunately, was a lot of kids who were relying on scholarships in order to stay in school were getting their scholarships taken away because of these roster limits. So a lot of students were losing their ability to not only play the sports they love, but even go to school anymore because they didn't have the scholarships. So she said that has to be fixed to allow those players to be grandfathered in, which I completely agree with. That is unfair to any student, and we should not. First of all, if you've watched any of my programs, including The Mind of the Professor, we shouldn't have to pay for school at all. I believe college degrees should be free from the government. I believe the government should give free schooling and free healthcare. Just my opinion. May not agree with it. May be unpopular to some. That's what I think. If you really want to have a workforce that is more intelligent than the rest of the world, we'll start by giving it free schooling. Only makes logical sense to me. And that's coming from someone who also last week said college degrees aren't necessarily worth as much as they were in the past. And that's not to put down a college degree. I have 2 college degrees, and I am very proud of both of them. But I also could have probably gotten my job without the degrees. Did they help? Sure. I'm sure when I was put up against the other candidates, my degree might have put me over the top. But honestly, for what I do, marketing and things like that, you don't need to have a degree. It's more about the experience that you have. That being said, tangent over. That was the update on the NCAA. That is going to happen. We are going to have this salary cap in the future, which is going to be needed because it ties into this story, y'all. $4 million? Okay. As you always know on this program, I'm going to give you both sides of the coin so you can make your own decision. He holds out. He was making $2 million last year, which, by the way, for a soft $2.5 million. Thank you. I appreciate you you correcting me there. He was making $2.5 million last year as a sophomore quarterback who had only started 1 year, mind you. Now, he did take Tennessee to the playoffs last year, and if it wasn't for him, Tennessee would not have been in the playoffs last year. So there is that to be taken into consideration. But $4 million, bro? You couldn't have just asked for an extra $500,000? Like $3 million, you probably would have gotten from the NIL collective. I mean, yeah, you took them to the playoffs, but man, you're still not proven. You could have a bad year next year and have a sophomore slump, even though you would be a junior because you redshirted. So, okay. So again, let me give you all sides of the story here. Tennessee said, hell to the nah, that ain't happening. The coach, Josh Heupel, said, we're not going to start that trend. He's gone. So they have released him, and he will hit the transfer portal Wednesday when the transfer portal opens. Just to let you all know, word on the street from my sources tell me that Southern California, the FUSC Trojans, are in the number 1 spot since he is from California. He also got Indiana, a surprise playoff team last year, or a surprise top 10 team. They did make the playoffs. That's right. They did make the playoffs. Indiana and North Carolina with Bill Belichick is said to be targeting the kid, which makes no sense to me because I would think Bill Belichick would be the ultimate person that didn't want to deal with any of that. But, you know, hey, who the hell am I? Only the professor, of course. So can he be fined for that? Right. No, unfortunately, they're not going to take back the money they already gave him, but they released the hell out of his ass and told him to take a hike. And so, again, he's going to hit that transfer portal Monday. It is. The NIL money is very, very lucrative, but also a ugly mess. And that's what I want to get into today. So there's a couple ways to look at this. First of all, you look at this from the side of schools. Tennessee was right to not allow this to happen. Because if they start the trend and allow this to happen, then other schools would have to start to make the same concession, and it's eventually going to happen. One school is going to make this concession at some point. But that's why they need this NCAA ruling to come into place where they can have a salary cap so that way they don't have to worry about this per se. So the issue is, though, that let's be completely honest about this, y'all. NIL was never supposed to be free agency. It wasn't. It wasn't supposed to be professional free agency. NIL was put in place for athletes to be able to make money off of their name, image, and likeness, signing autographs, doing autograph shows, selling, doing commercials for local car dealerships. Things of this nature was the original intention. But since then, it has spiraled into a cavalcade, another great word for a Puerto Rican on a live TV show, cavalcade of what could be no less or more described as a complete wasteland from where they originally intended to be. Now, again, with the NCAA being one of the most corrupt organizations in history, no doubt, I don't care about how the NCAA has to back pay this, what kind of things come out to a fallout from the NCAA, because for all I could care, the NCAA could disband and I'd be completely happy with conferences and schools managing themselves. The NCAA at this point is nothing more than a hindrance to everyone getting to where they want to be, which is everyone getting paid, because it's very rich. And I say this again, exclaiming that asking for 1.5 million more was probably a little bit too much, bro. You should have just probably went to 3 mil. But again, get what you're worth. Another school is going to obviously pay him 3 or 4 because he's going to go somewhere else and request the same amount. And if you want to be a national championship contender, you'll pay him. Because let's be honest right now, Tennessee is not going to make the playoffs next year. There's no way on God's green earth, even if they go out and get the Baylor kid QB that they're trying to poach, which is just another problem with NIL now, because now they're going to go poach Baylor's QB, or they're trying to. Then where's Baylor going to have a QB? And this is all happening as spring practice and spring games are starting this weekend. Nothing more. It can be described as a mess, but at the same time, I cannot feel bad for the NCAA. They put themselves in this position with the bullshit amateurism. Students always deserve to get paid. Athletes always deserve to get paid the whole entire time. And the fact that they held them down for so long, well, good. I hope they get screwed. I hope the NCAA gets screwed and they have to pay back a lot of money, which they are. They're going to have to pay back, I believe, and I'm going to have to check the amount because I don't want to say the wrong amount, but hundreds of millions of dollars in back pay to athletes going back to, I believe, 2014 when these lawsuits started. And that's good. Those kids should get paid, and kids should be getting paid, because a college degree is not worth enough for what these student athletes have to go through. Not only are they expected to go to class, but they're also expected to practice 40 hours a week, do games, study, and work on their craft. Like those are 2 full-time jobs. They deserve to be paid. Now, is this what was going to come from that? Yes. Is this going to need to be fixed down the line? Yes. I believe that this Supreme Court case is going to end up fixing it. I believe it will go a long way to doing that. Yes. But in the moment, in the meantime, we're stuck in a place that is only going to continue to get worse. Nico Iamaleava is not a bad person for doing what he is trying to do. He's trying to get what his market value is. And really, it's probably not even him. It's probably his people that are pushing him to do this. But at the same time, fine, get what you're worth. I'm not mad at you. You know what I mean? I'm not mad at you, kid. But this is only going to continue to get worse. It's not like he was the only one that did. This is happening in other places right now as we speak with other players in basketball and football. This is just the first story we heard of it. But if you think there's not 50 other people like him right now talking to their schools and have been, you're not thinking logically. Because I can tell you, basketball school just ended. And I can tell you, my school, UCLA, we had to let our 7-foot center a day Mara go because he wanted too much money in NIL and they weren't willing to pay him. UCLA, one of the richest schools in America, was not willing to, which good for them, I guess. Don't pay him. I mean, I'm sad because we needed his 7-foot ass on the court next year. He would have made us a damn Final Four team, and we might not be that now without him, but he wanted too much money in the NIL. So, Rock Chalk, Hunter Dickinson with KU was making sick money and not that great in my opinion. Right. But you saw what he did. He left Michigan where he was making lots of money to go to Kansas because they were like, well, we need someone to fill up that fog, what do y'all call it? What's it called? Help me out. I know you're a Kansas fan, so I know you will. What's it called? It's not called an arena. It's called anyways, you'll tell me. So anyways, he got paid. Kansas was willing to pay him more than Michigan was willing to pay to keep him. Right? So it is preposterous. And yeah, show me the money is the theme. But at the same time, again, these kids were held down for so long without being paid for basically working a full-time job. And then what? And they're expected to go to school. Then what? They got to try to work a part-time job at McDonald's just to get a little bit of money, or God forbid, now they're out here selling dope or having to do something else because we're not providing them with what they need. You know what I mean? It is. Welcome to capitalism. Very much so. But again, the NCAA, and that's what I'm saying. It is so rich for these administrators, for coaches who leave their schools high and dry to go to another school and make so much more money. No, I don't want to hear that from any coaches. That's very rich coming from coaches who go to the highest bidder, right? Administrators, schools. These schools are rich as hell. They don't need less money. They don't need more money. They need to give money away. So all of these organizations that are making money hand over fist are not willing to give it to the students. And now that the student athletes have gotten some sort of hold of control, some sort of momentum towards getting paid, now it's blown up into, oh, these kids are starting to, these millennials, oh, they want all this and that. Wait a second. What are we talking about? If we allow administrators, NCAA, coaches, all of these things to go to the highest bidder, and we are going to allow kids to get paid now, why should we not allow those kids to get money that will go to the highest bidder? Why are we going to ostracize or desecrate these kids? And they are still kids. Remember, these are still kids in college, but they are kids that deserve to be paid if they're going to have to play a sport that makes billions of dollars for other people to get rich. But then they can't have their hand out for a little piece of the pie. Sorry, I don't agree. So while I don't agree that Nico Iamaleava should have asked for that much more, I would have gone with the $500,000 more and asked for $3 million if it was me personally, since I'm already making $2 million and I'm a sophomore in college. I'm doing pretty well for myself. But at the same time, get your money, Playboy. Get your money, bruh. Bruv, as my boy Will Ospreay would say. Cash rules everything around me. Cream the money. Dollar bills, y'all. Shout out to the Wu-Tang Clan. I mean, y'all, you know what I mean? Like, back up that Brinks truck. Back up the Brinks truck, baby. What did they say in Jerry Maguire? Show me the money. Show me the money, baby. You want me to come out here and take your school to a playoff, which is only going to make the school millions and millions of dollars richer, and you're not willing to break me off another $1 million of that? Holla. Chuck the deuces and be out. Chuck the deuces and be out. That's where we are. It is the Wild West right now. The NIL has caused free agency. The transfer portal has caused free agency. and basically poaching and trading from team to team. It is the Wild West right now. Outlaws and gunslingers out here. Just fighting in the saloons. You know what I mean? Thank you, Bianca. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. I mean, it's just logical to me. If someone is making a lot of money off of other people who are not getting any of that money, it would only make sense to me that those people are going to start to want some of that money. It's the same reason we have unions in this country. And if you watch this program, you know I'm pro-union. Because unions help employees to get the rights and benefits and money that they truly deserve, that the corporations who are making money hand over fist are screwing them out of. And I know that's a conservative liberal thing. Conservatives don't like unions. Liberals do. Has nothing to do with that. You watch this show, you know I hate both parties. All politicians are scums. As my boy Francis Long would say, shout out, by the way. Francis, I love you. Thank you for my new microphone and my new camera. You are amazing. I love you so much, my brother. Politicians, all liars, cheaters, and scums. Woo! Or snakes. Right? They're in it for themselves. They're in it to make money for themselves. No different than these schools, than the administrators, than the NCAA themselves. Thank you, Rock Shock. Allen Fieldhouse. The Fog. That's what it is. The Fog, named after your legendary Hall of Fame coach, Bill Fogg, who, by the way, I learned because Kelvin Sampson tied him in career wins last week. That's how I actually learned that fun fact. Well, thank you for that. And thank y'all for tuning in. Morning Wombat. Shout out to the professor. Salute to you, my friend. You're always tuning in, and I really, really appreciate it. Stay tuned for the news. You know, we got to go back and forth about our weekly U.S. update. I'll be getting to that in just a moment here. Yeah, see, my community. We're all friends of each other. I love it. All right, let's keep it moving. That is what I think right now. Again, if you want to hear more about how I feel about the NCAA, I did a Mind of the Professor on this about 6 months ago. So if you go back and look for the Mind of the Professor where I talk about the corruption of the NCAA, I did a whole 30-minute segment on this. So please go check this out. I'll probably be doing an update here. I'm probably going to wait till the NCAA court case is done. And once that's done, I'll probably do an update on my next Mind of the Professor. But again, it's easy to point fingers at the players for valuing money over tradition or loyalty or, God forbid, a free education. But if everybody else is doing it above me, I mean, you tell me to respect my elders. You tell me to follow the lead of people who know better. I'm just doing what I see. I'm just doing what I see. The people that are leading me, the people that are supposed to be the leader of these men and women, I'm just doing what they're doing. You told me to follow their example. I'm following their example. It's not my fault they're crooked. And now you want to be mad at me and call me crooked? No, sirree, Bobby. Not on my watch. You gonna pay me what I'm worth. That's what you gonna do. You ain't gonna sit here and make all this money off of me. Because believe me, again, Tennessee is not a playoff team. They will not be in the playoffs next year. Why? Because they let this guy go. Now, again, it was the right thing for them to do because you do not want to be the first school that lets that through. It's going to happen. And I anticipate, I want to see who is that first school that's going to give into that pressure. Obviously, it's got to be a richer school that can afford it. But I wonder who is going to be that first school. It seems like something the Ohio State University would do, right? Doesn't that seem like that the Ohio State? That seems like something. And I'm sorry, all my the Ohio State University friends. You know, I love you, but that seems like something your school would do. Or Penn State. Apparently, Penn State is about to start blowing everyone out the water with NIL. Apparently, Penn State is loading up, which is why we need these salary caps. Because then it's going to get into, okay, well, obviously the richest schools are going to have the best teams, and then we don't have that parity of competition. So we definitely need to get this NCAA Supreme Court case solved, or this court case solved, Claudia Wilkin, and, have it so we start to regulate these things, because it's the unregulation right now. It's the wild west of things that are happening, which is not allowing us to it was overcompensation, right? The NCAA held student athletes down for so long, and now student athletes want their recompense, right? They want their comeuppance. They want their recompense. They want what they're owed. It's an overcompensation, yes, and it needs to be brought back to equilibrium, which it will be eventually. But right now, this is only going to continue. So Claudia Wilkins, I personally don't care, but I know there's a lot of people out there that are probably very much hope that you make this decision very, very soon. So, and so what is the other recourse that they have to do anything? There is none. At some point, some school is going to have to give in. Some school is going to have to give in. So we'll see which one that is. So let's take a listen to some of these hypocritical coaches had to say, weighing in on this. Miami's Mario Cristobal, who is definitely a school I could see doing this, considering they have a damn illegal NIL collective right now that was paying out millions of dollars before it was even legal to do so. So even though he wasn't there at the time, he was at Oregon coaching, but still. He says if anyone's thinking that they could be the best player in the world, if they want to hold out, they might as well play get out. We don't do that and don't want Miami to become that. I'm going to laugh when they eat their words, because I can definitely see Miami being a school to do that. LSU coach Brian Kelly, very rich from Brian Kelly, who freaking just left Notre Dame a few years ago to go to LSU because he said he didn't have the money and resources to win at Notre Dame. Came out and said, this is the first version of the correction. And I think we're going to see a lot of this. It's a new world. We're going to navigate the best we can, but there are going to be other situations that are going to come. And he's completely right about that. That's just like I just said. This is not the only person that is in this situation. Is it disruptive? Yes. But in order to enact change, there has to be disruption. The revolution doesn't always have to be televised in order to make an impact. Now, this one is highly televised, so I guess that metaphor didn't make too much sense there, but I always like using that metaphor. So there we go. Anyways, we'll see more complaints, more pleas to Congress. We're not going to see anything change. He won't be able to sign with another SEC team, as the conference has a February 1st transfer deadline. So he has to transfer to another conference that will allow him to transfer at this point of the season, which is just a whole nother set of crap at this point, is the transfer portal. Like, they've got to fix the dates of this transfer portal. You can't have the transfer portal open when football season is still going on, because then you have players sitting out of bowl games and not going to play because they don't want to get hurt for their new school. And you got coaches doing this. Like, y'all got to fix this. Y'all got to fix the whole situation. Whole situation. Let's get some comments here. Morning Wombat, can we please have a boxing? Yes, preview live stream for Ben versus Eubank next week. The stream was 86. Skywalker Clubber D was fantastic back in February for B-Vol. Better Biev Dose. Yeah, you know what? Let me talk to Clubber D, and I think we will be able to make that happen. I will actually be back with my brother Clubber D as I'm going back home. And we grew up together. So that is my brother from another, literally. So I'll be seeing him this weekend. Actually, I'll be hanging out with him Saturday. So I'll talk to him about that, and we might be able to get that together with the boys. We'll see if they're good. By the way, y'all tap in with 86 Boxing, Skywalker Boxing Media, and Heavy on the Poppy, Light on the Yayo Papi Chuneo. All of them are amazing boxing experts. So if you like boxing, definitely tap in with all those channels. And we really appreciate you tuning in. Morning Wombat. Thank you. Y'all hit that like button, please. Again, it is invaluable to us, but it is free to you. So please help us out. And as well, subscribe at Ball and Buds, BALLANDBUDS, handy QR code up top. All right, cool. So now let's move into another or some more sports stories. Oh, and I completely forgot. I'm over here just yapping my mouth, although I'm kind of glad now that I think about it that I didn't have this up because I kind of wanted y'all to have me full screen there. But let me go ahead and bring up my, I like to have my little news portion of things. So let me go ahead and bring up my PowerPoint for y'all. But yeah, we're going to move it on to the NBA playoffs. I have the bracket here on my PowerPoint. So I want to bring that up. The professor, we like to learn you here. The NBA play-in tournament starts this Tuesday and goes through tomorrow and goes through Friday with the NBA playoffs starting on Saturday. So let me go ahead. And like I said, I want to bring this bracket up to y'all so we can show you the play-in tournament matches that we have. And then we'll go into a little bit. Oh, yes, no doubt. Thank you, Rock Chalk. Mo Boxing, no problem. Salute to Mo Boxing, no problem. Love them. I've partnered with them on a lot of social media and other things. So salute to Mo Boxing, no problem as well. We are definitely partners with them as well. So shout out, tap in with them. So again, you didn't get to see my Rory slide. So I'll go ahead and bring that up for you now. Now you get to see it. You see my hard work that I did earlier and didn't get to use it. There's my other hard work. I'm going to make you look at it because I did take 10 minutes to make the damn slide, but that was for the end. I just completely forgot. But that's okay. I like to go full screen sometimes. And now that we've talked about it, Tennessee and Nico Iamaleava. Rory McIlroy, Masters win. That's for later when I cut it up. All right, 2025 NBA playoffs now. I am going to make this bigger. If you cannot hear me when I go off screen, please somebody tell me, but I want you to be able to see this. So here are our NBA play-in. Let's go ahead and check this out here. So you can see in our play-in tournament, we have the Kings at the number 9 seed versus the Mavericks. That's over here on your top left side. Yes, the Dallas Mavericks are at the 10 seed. And you say, Omar, unless you've been hiding under a rock, you know what happened. But the Dallas Mavericks, in one of the truly horrendous episodes of when a franchise becomes a traitor to their star player, traded their star player and one of the best players in the league, Luka Doncic, to the Lakers for injury-prone Anthony Davis, which, by the way, this is going to be akin to the Babe Ruth curse against the Red Sox. But man, oh man, the Mavericks supremely screwed themselves on this one. And the Mavericks went all the way down from where they were when they traded Luka, which was a 3rd seed, to the 10th seed. Why? Multiple injuries happened. And again, this is just an overall curse that is going to screw the Mavericks for, I don't see them winning a championship for the next 50 years for this. Anyways, and they're going to lose here to the Kings. Then you got, and looking down at the bottom, number 7 Warriors versus number 8 Grizzlies. I appreciate you, Canteen, my brother. Thank you. I forgot to tell you I was going live. Canteen always shares me in the Bottom Line Sports group. If y'all like sports news and trash talk, join the Bottom Line Sports on Facebook. We talk a bunch of trash, post a bunch of news. Thank you for getting me, brother. I appreciate that. I should have told you earlier. So Warriors and Grizzlies down here on the bottom side, 7 and 8. Warriors suffered, Jimmy Butler suffered a bad ankle injury yesterday. It was bad watching him hobble around out there. But I do not think that affects the Warriors. The Grizzlies as well are in a free fall with them firing their coach, Taylor Jenkins, a few weeks ago. And now Ja Morant trying in every single which way possible to get banned from the NBA by pointing guns and throwing grenades, which, by the way, I think is hilarious. But I'm also not the NBA, and I'm sure Adam Silver does not find that to be funny at all. Anyways, Warriors win that one. Moving on to the right-hand side, you got the Bulls versus the Heat, the number 9 Bulls, number 10 Heat. Go Bulls, says Bianca. I agree with you. I got the Bulls here. That's just because I hate the Heat so much, because they beat up my Celtics so much when they had LeBron back in the day, which, by the way, shout out to my pops. Go Celtics. We will be there for another finals game this year, hopefully game 7 this time around. Rock Chalk, Nuggets fan, of course, yes. Love me some Nikola Jokic. Hopefully he's a Celtic after his contract is up. Me and my pops were talking about that the other day. Nuggets still looking good, though, even though they as well fired their coach a week before the playoffs, which makes no damn sense. Anyways, Magic, Hawks, lower right-hand corner. I mean, in terms of who I want to play as a Celtic fan, I want to play the Hawks. Let's be honest. The Magic are a much more physical team than the Hawks. The Hawks are a finesse team. I'd rather my team be able to blow out a team that's a finesse three-pointing squad like we are, except not even nearly half as good as us. So the Hawks are a wannabe low-budget version, a broke low-budget version of the Celtics. And so I'd rather face them because I think it'll be an easier win in the series. And I want to save our wear and tear for the second round. So, yeah, that is your NBA playoff bracket. Please, y'all, again, tune into the Bottom Line Sports tomorrow night. We are going to cover this whole playoff bracket. We will give you all of our predictions and give you our championship games and championship winners tomorrow night. The Bottom Line Sports, 8 p.m. Eastern. Again, join at The Bottom Line Sports on Facebook, or you can watch at Ball and Buds on YouTube. Rock Chalk, I like CB. Okay, good. I hear that. Yes. Josh Giddey fan. Okay. All right. Coming from a female fan. Very interesting. We won't get into why that is on this program, but if you don't know what Josh Giddey has been accused of, you can go look it up. I'm not gonna disparage the man's name on here because I don't know that those charges are to be true. In the United States, you are innocent until proven guilty. And so as far as I know, we don't know the outcome of what actually happened, but he has been charged for things that, if were to be true, I personally wouldn't be a fan of him. But again, alleged allegations. But again, coming from a female, that's very interesting, Bianca. Very interesting. Oh, okay. He's Aussie. Yes. That makes sense. I'm putting the 2 and 2 together because Bianca is from Australia. Can't wait to go visit. What an amazing place. It seems like I can't wait. But anyways, yes. Yeah, go check it out. He's been alleged to have inappropriate relationships. Let's just say that. And from there, you can read on and go look it up. To anybody who doesn't get that, I think that kind of puts it out there for what it kind of is. But yes, you are welcome. I am here to teach. The professor is here to teach. It is all good. That's why y'all come to this show, to be learned a little bit. Yeah. Yep. It'll change your mind. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't want to burst your bubble, but I'm not sorry. I'm glad that I informed you, because you know what? If that changes your mind, then obviously you needed to know that, so that way you could make an informed decision. But yeah, not a good look if it's true. Not a good look if it's true. All right. Anyways, we'll talk more about that tomorrow, including the fakers, when I talk about Hot Take Jake and his bum-ass Lakers and how they're going to get their asses whooped by the Timberwolves in the playoffs. So look forward to that. Moving on, NHL as well. The NHL playoffs will start here in just about 4 days. We're ending the season here in the next couple days. This is the playoff bracket if the playoffs started today. Shout out to The Athletic for this wonderful both wonderful playoff brackets that they provided us today. I subscribe to The Athletic for all of my sporting news, the most comprehensive news outlet for sports on the planet. I recommend them very, very highly, The Athletic. All right. 20, that's how I know so much. That's how I get all these stories and know all these stats and things, because The Athletic is my informant. they're my rumor mill. Anyways, no, I do have connections. All right, so NHL playoffs. Let's look at this real quick. First of all, y'all see it? Oh, you're going to the Nuggets and Clippers. Rock Chalk, shout out. Yes, that's going to be amazing. That is going to be a great game. Now, I wasn't going to give my pick till tomorrow, and this is going to upset you a little bit, Rock Chalk, but the Clippers are playing some of the hottest basketball on the planet right now, and with Kawhi healthy, I'm sorry. Y'all fired your coach a week before the season. That makes no sense to me. It's just so illogical. I have to pick the Clippers. I have no choice. But good luck to you. Good luck to you. You know what I mean? Good luck. Good luck. This girl, Jamie, I used to work with. Shout out to Jamie if she's watching, which she's definitely not. But if she was, good luck. She used to just say that every time I came into work. Good luck. All right. Go Capitals, says my pops. Yes, everybody back in the DMV rooting for Alex Ovechkin and the Capitals. I'm not going to lie. If my Kings were not in the playoffs, I would be cheering for the Capitals as well to win. But you see my Kings, they're on the left-hand side. Tonight, we play the Edmonton Oilers. If we win, we get home ice advantage against them, which is extremely important because the Edmonton Oilers have beaten us the past 3 years in a row, and I'm getting really sick and tired of losing to this stupid team. By the way, that brings me to another point, NHL. Reseeding. Reseeding, NHL. Please, for the love of everything that is holy, please start reseeding. Please. We cannot have, not even reseeding. Before we even get to reseeding, which is a whole nother issue, conference seeding out of the wild card is even more important. Why do you make conference teams play each other out of the wild card? That makes no sense. We're playing these teams now, granted, in the NHL, you play pretty much every team twice, at least once. But this is a team that now we have played 4 years in a row in the playoffs. No one wants to see that, NHL. No one wants to see the same matchup every year. And I know I'm saying that because we've lost every year the past few, but still don't want to see that, okay? It's not just the losses. It's because that's just something you don't want to see, all right? We need a variety of matchups, a variety. We still have the other coaching staff. Yeah, I mean, that's true. You still do have the rest of the coaching staff. That's a good point. And yeah, I do think that Mike Malone is a little bit grating. I could see how he would be a little bit grating on the nerves after years of coaching. I just don't think it's smart to do it a week before the playoffs. I think you ride that out. He already won a championship for you once. You ride it out, hope he can pull that magic out one more time. And if not, get rid of him after the season. I mean, do you really think the interim coach is going to do better than the coach that's been the coach for the past 7 years and won you a championship? Seems pretty illogical to me, but, you know, they don't call me the professor for no reason. Anyways, and I don't call myself that sometimes. All right. If you can't hear me again when I go off, let me know, but I want to make this bigger so y'all can see it. NHL playoffs. You see we got the Vegas Golden Knights up there at the Minnesota Wild. You've got the Winnipeg Jets. That's the third down on the left versus the St. Louis Blues. Shout out to the Winnipeg Jets. They won the President's Trophy as the best team in the league with the best record, beating out the aforementioned Washington Capitals. The Winnipeg Jets had a 55-win, 22-loss, 4-tie record. They beat the Capitals, who had 50 wins. So they beat them by 5 wins. So shout out to the Winnipeg Jets there. All right. And finally, Dallas Stars versus the Colorado Avalanche down there on the bottom left. On the right-hand side, you've got the Toronto Maple Leafs versus the Ottawa Senators. Then moving down second on the right, you've got the Tampa Bay Lightning versus the defending champion Florida Panthers. Third down on the right, again, the aforementioned DMV Washington, D.C. Capitals versus the Montreal Canadiens. And then on the bottom right-hand side, you've got the Carolina Hurricanes versus the New Jersey Devils. Now, I would like to point out one crazy thing here is if for some reason the Canadiens do not make the playoffs, if they don't make the playoffs as an 8th seed, we may have a NHL playoff without an original 6 team, one of the original 6 franchises, which is just wild considering those are some of the greatest and most prestigious franchises in the NHL. Now, the problem is a lot of those franchises have hit on hard times, especially since no Canadian teams have won at the NHL Cup. I believe it's the past, I think it's been like 8 to 10 seasons. I don't remember the exact stat. I remember talking about it on this episode a while ago, but I don't remember. I think it's been 8 to 10 years a Canadian team has not won. So, yeah, not good for them. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, that is your NHL playoffs as we start right now. Also starting right now is the WNBA draft. Yes, Paige Bueckers will be the number 1 pick tonight. So if you're watching, it actually just started, I think, about 30 minutes ago. So she's probably already been picked, but she definitely got picked by the Dallas Wings as the number 1 pick to pair with Ogunbowale, who is an amazing player. And they have another pick in the top 10. So they should be able to turn their franchise around pretty quickly. Another team or franchise that should be able to turn around quickly. Another DMV team. The Washington Mystics have 3 top 10 picks. Yes, 3 top 10 picks. So hopefully they'll be able to remake their team. But anyways, the aforementioned Paige Bueckers will be the number 1 draft pick in the WNBA draft. But even better for her, she has signed with Unrivaled. Yes, Unrivaled, we know, is the new startup 3-on-3 league that I talked about many times on this program while it was going on in its first year or first season that just ended. It is a 3-year deal for Bueckers, and get this, y'all. Get this. Paige Bueckers' 3-year deal with Unrivaled, her first year salary, the first year alone, will exceed all 4 years of her WNBA earnings. What? What? Are you kidding me? How does that make any sense? How does that make any sense? You mean to tell me the WNBA, who granted doesn't make a lot of money, definitely not NBA money, but they're backed by the NBA. The WNBA, who has rich owners, don't think that they don't, cannot afford to pay their players more than $100,000, whatever is I think $150,000 is the minimum salary. You can't pay your players enough so they don't have to go overseas to China and Russia and get arrested like Brittany Griner or whatever. Instead of having those situations because you don't pay your players enough. You mean to tell me a 3-on-3 league is going to pay more in 1 year than you pay your best players in 4 years? That is completely unacceptable. They don't have near the monetary resources or backings that the WNBA does. Hell, Unrivaled was started by WNBA players currently. Literally. Unrivaled was started by Breanna Stewart and a few other ladies, and I apologize for not knowing everybody's ladies' names off the top of my head. But a group of ladies that are still current WNBA players, not getting paid enough, by the way, somehow, some way, were able to forge up enough money to pay their players more. Now, granted, they don't have to pay as many players. Yes, I get it. I know. You don't have to tell me that. The professor understands these things logically. It's a 3-on-3 league. Their rosters are like 5, 6 players. They've got 8 teams, 50 players at best. Yes, the WNBA has, 200 players. So yes, it is about 4 times the amount of players, but they also have 4 times less, probably more, of the resources or monetary value that the WNBA has. How does that make any sense? Come on, WNBA. Gotta be better. I've been saying this for a while. And now with the new media rights deals that y'all got, no. Start paying your players. We don't gotta keep talking about this. Corporations trying to hold their players down and not pay them what they're worth. Back up the Brinks truck. Back it up. Man, what a surprise. Cheap, rich-ass owners. Why do the richest people in the world got to be the cheapest? Bastards. Don't ever want to help the poor people. Don't want to even pay their own workers. It's very rare to see a rich person give back, and they should. Bastards. Yes, thank you, Bianca. 2 minutes ago, she says, Paige Becker selected by the Dallas Wings 2 minutes ago. Appreciate the live update. Hey, I love it. Thank you, Bianca. Very much appreciate that. So there you go. She's going to make more money in Unrivaled. Who the hell am I? Who the hell am I? Western Michigan. Shout out to Western Michigan University, topping Boston University to win its first ever NCAA men's hockey title. Yes, they beat the vaunted Boston University. So shout out to Western Michigan, who I believe, don't quote me on this, I'm really good with college mascots. I know most of them. I actually took one of those college mascot IQ tests, and I think I got like 100 out of 120. I believe Western Michigan, I know they're a Bronco of some sorts, like a horse. I want to say they're the Broncos. I want to say they're the Western Michigan Broncos. But I could be wrong. But I'm picturing a horse of some sorts. Someone look up for me the Western Michigan University, please. Oh, yes, more updates. Look at this. Number 2, Seattle drafts the French woman Dominique Malonga. Y'all, this chick is going to be crazy. They're calling her the female Wembanyama. She's not just because she's from France, but because she's very tall as well. She's like 6'10", I want to say. And she's balling. So they got a future Wemby there. Number 3, Mystics. We talked about Sonia Cintron out of the University of Notre Dame. A senior out of there. Very good player. She is exactly what the Mystics need. And the Mystics, don't be stupid here, Mystics. You better draft homegrown prospect Cheyenne Sellers, who played for the University of Maryland, my alumni. Shout out to my alumni. I went to the university. That's where I got those 2 wonderful degrees from, the University of Maryland. Shout out to my Terrapins. Y'all better draft Cheyenne Sellers, Mystics. Don't let the Baltimore native go to another state or wherever. All right. 2 more notes here in sports. Damn, I should have just done a sports and a news episode because it looks like this one's going to run a little bit long, y'all. Looks like we might have a 2-hour episode in us today because I still got another hour at least. I still got to go through all the news. We got a lot of Donald Trump to talk about. Reese Davis sticking with ESPN's iconic College Game Day after an all-out effort by Fox. What happened? Fox Sports tried to lure Reese Davis from ESPN to join their big noon kickoff. You will know that Reese Davis has been the main guy on College Game Day for a long time. He's also been with ESPN, get this, for 30 years. Usually ESPN doesn't hold on to anybody that long, but they've held on to Reese Davis, and they did it here. Apparently, 7-year deal worth tens of millions of dollars. So he's getting that Joe Buck, Troy Aikman, Pat McAfee type ESPN money. So shout out to Reese Davis for getting that bag. Speaking of the aforementioned Stephen A. Smith, ESPN sportcaster Stephen A. Smith announced on Sunday, with all the talk propping him up as a presidential candidate, he's an independent. I love me some Stephen A. Smith. I know my pops disagrees. He's not a Stephen A. Smith fan, but I am. I consider myself to be in the Stephen A. ilk. That's what I'm trying to do here. I started this program pretty much, not that I had already been doing the audio version on the podcast a few years ago, but I started the video one once I saw Stephen A. started doing it and was going out of his lane from sports. I was like, well, I can do it too then. And that's why I've been doing this show. So thank you to Stephen A. But he's looking at a presidential run in 2028 because he's not happy where the Democrats are, and he's independent. He's not happy where the Republicans are. He doesn't want Donald Trump to be able to run for a third term. Hey, maybe. I'd rather have maybe The Rock or Oprah, but I take some Stephen A. Smith. Hell, maybe your boy, the professor, will be a presidential candidate. At one point in time, I thought I could never be the president of the United States. Why? Well, let's just say I've had a little bit of a rough go at it. Some different portions of my life, and got myself into a little bit of trouble here and there. But shit, we got a convicted felon as the president right now. And again, that's no slight against Donald Trump. I have no problem with Donald Trump whatsoever. I don't care about any politician. I think they're all scum. He's just like the rest of them. But, I mean, he's the president, and he's been convicted in court. If he can do it, why can't anybody do it? I guess it doesn't matter what you do in your past. Probably kill somebody and still become the president. I mean, shit. My ex-girl, one of my exes, I don't even know if I should tell this story on air, but you know what? Nope. Not even going to do it. That would have been a very bad idea. I do not need a defamation lawsuit on my hands. There will be no U.S. by 2028. I mean, I might not have to disagree with you. Might not have to disagree with you there. No, never convicted of anything. No, but still, I'm using it as a point that it doesn't matter what you do in life. That apparently you can become the president. So again, no, not I, my friend. But yeah, I was a wild and rebellious teen. Let's just say that. I was a wild and rebellious teenager and 20-year-older. I got a little crazy there for a while. Let's just say that. All right. Anyways, oh, look at that. I was right. Shout out to my college mascot knowledge. It is the Broncos. I was right. The Western Michigan Broncos. Shout out. All right. Cool. Oh, you're so stupid, GB. That's hilarious. Not all Raiders fans are convicts. You better stop that besmirchment of the good name of my Las Vegas Raiders. That's great. All right, cool. That's it for our sports. But yeah, we'll see what happens with Stephen A. Smith and if he actually ends up becoming a presidential candidate or not. We'll see what happens. All right. Thank you for tuning in, y'all. Make sure you hit that like button. Again, it is free to you, but it is so invaluable to us. It really helps us out in the YouTube algorithm so other people see us. So please hit that like, hit that heart, hit that laugh, whatever it is. Give me a reaction as well. Subscribe at Ball and Buds, BALLANDBUDS. Please, on YouTube, there's a handy QR code up at the top. Let's move it in to entertainment. Ernie for Prez. Are you talking about Ernie from NBA Inside the NBA, Ernie Johnson? I would love some Ernie Johnson as president. I love me some EJ. I hope that's who you're talking about. Anyways, all right, let's move it on. Entertainment, Instagram, y'all. For all you Instagram content creators out there, I got some good news, especially for those of you like me out there who try to make shorts, but for some reason, your shorts turn out to be 5 minutes and you have to spend hours editing it down to a minute to get it under the shorts. No more. Shorts on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok are all now 3 minutes across the board. So make those shorts 3 minutes long if you want to. I know that's going to save me hours of editing in the future. So awesome. Also, Instagram is changing their watch time metric. Because what would happen is when creators like me who create longer reels and longer shorts that are, 3 minutes long or whatever, or at the time, a minute long, Instagram would calculate the first 10 seconds of watch time. And they would say, okay, well, if you watched the first 10 seconds of a 10-second short, well, you watched the whole thing, 100% completion. And they rank that as really good and boost you up in the algorithm. If you made a minute short and they only watched 10 seconds, you still got 10 seconds of watch time, but it was only 15% or 18%, 17.5% watch time. So you were penalized because you had 100% watch time versus 17.5% watch time, but the watch seconds were the same. So now Instagram has fixed this. Now the first 10 seconds is graded the same regardless of how long your short is. So that's really going to help the engagement and metrics and percentages for people like me who create longer shorts because they want to create more value for the user, right? Cool. And being said, let's go ahead and add this back up here for a hot moment. There we go. There's our slide for our Instagram and TikTok. Other news, Meta antitrust trial begins today. What is this, Omar, you ask? Let the professor learn you a little bit. Federal regulators are arguing that Meta, also known as Facebook, monopolized social networking services by acquiring smaller rivals with the goal of squashing competition. Well, duh! What the hell do you mean? That's the whole point of competition. Now, granted, I get it. We don't want to have companies that are, monopolizing industries so that we have to bow to one company. And yes, of course, we don't want monopolization. But you're telling me that because Meta bought out Instagram, because if you didn't know, Facebook does own Instagram, and WhatsApp, they do own WhatsApp, because they bought those two social networking sites, that they're trying to get a monopoly. Google owns YouTube, if you didn't know that. Google owns all this other crap. And yes, Google's actually going to go under a monopolization charge case in about a month here. They start theirs. But obviously they can't both be monopolizing. You can't have two monopolizers in the same industry. So which is it? Are they monopolizing and forcing each other out? Or are they still competing with each other? Seems like TikTok is doing a pretty damn good job by itself competing. Now, they got China behind them. And we've talked a lot about this here on this program, so we don't need to go more into that. But come on now, y'all. And look, I don't agree with Zuckerberg and most of the things that he does, especially the way he stole Facebook to begin with. If you've ever seen the movie or the background, he stole it from the Winklevoss twins back in Harvard when it used to be a rating how hot co-eds were, girls and guys at school. Like I don't agree with most of his Zuckerberg's things that he's done, but you can't tell me that just because he bought two social media sites that he's trying to get a monopoly when there's all of these other sites out there that are still competing. So I don't agree with this. Zuckerberg asked President Donald Trump to intervene, and he probably will because we know that now President Donald Trump is in cahoots with all of these social media site owners, including Elon Musk, as we know, because they're all putting money in his back pocket, which there's no denying that. No one is going to come on this program and try to tell me that's not happening because I was born in the morning, but I sure as hell wasn't born this morning. I know President Trump is making money off all those people. And whatever. As I said earlier, all politicians do it. All politicians are in it for themselves, their family, their constituents, their pockets. They're there to line them and theirs' pockets, and that's it. They don't care about you. I said that last week. I'll say it again now. If you think a politician cares about you, they don't. Hell, the only one I may argue that even cares about people is probably Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders is probably the only one that actually cares about people in general. The rest of them, no, not even. Yep, that's exactly what I was talking about, Pops. Meta in court today. That's exactly the story I was talking about. They're being charged with a monopoly as well as Google. I don't agree. Bianca says, I make a lot of videos, takes a lot of work, editing, especially for a long video. Girl, woo, chica, you ain't got, we are in the same boat. I spend hours, tens of hours every week. Every day I spend hours editing videos. Literally, not a day goes by that I do not spend at least a couple hours editing videos. After I get off of here, I'm going to download this episode and I'm going to cut it up so I can repurpose it and put it out on YouTube this week. And it'll take me a couple hours to do that because I cut the segments. So then when I do a 5-minute short, because I want to get all this information in there, and then I'm sitting there for 3 hours making a 1-minute video, pisses me off. So thank God they did this. Thank God. Oh, thank you, Lord Jesus. Yes, takes a lot. That drives me nuts too. Yo, I'd be so mad sometimes. I'd be like, screw you, you stupid computer. And it's not even the computer's fault. It's usually user error at that point. Cracking me up. Y'all hit that like button. Thank you so much. Moving on, a couple more notes here before we move into our USA, United States, Donald Trump news. Blue Origin, Amazon's owner, Jeff Bezos, his phallic shaped rocket, also known as a penis shaped rocket, Blue Origin, this morning sent its first all-female crew into space. Yes, I was about to make a joke about how a dick rocket just took 6 ladies into space, but that's not what the ladies have told me before. Or is it? I don't know. But wow, I hope I don't get canceled for that. All right, anyways. Who was... That's great. That's fantastic. I'm going to use that line next time I'm in a bar. Anyways, I should have used that yesterday. Shout out to the beautiful young lady I was hanging with yesterday. You know who you are if you're watching. I know you subscribed to the channel yesterday. So if you're watching, I had a good time with you yesterday. I'd like to hang out again very, very soon. And I'd like to wake up with you hungover one day. That's all I'm saying. Shooting my shot out here. All right, anyways. CBS, I can hear Clubber D right now. CBS Mornings host Gayle King and Lauren Sanchez, the fiance of Jeff Bezos, were on the flight, as well as Katy Perry. Yes, Katy Perry was on the flight as well. These are the first women being sent into space since 1963, when the Soviet Union, which is now Russia, sent astronaut Valentina Tereshkova on a solo mission into space. Shout out to her, a solo mission in 63 for a woman. That's amazing. Why have I never heard of that lady before? Shout out to her. Anyways, Katy Perry, if you want to know, did sing. She did sing to her fellow astronauts while they were in space. Can anybody take a guess what Katy Perry sung in space today to her co-astronauts? No, probably not, but it's my show, so I don't care. Who's going to cancel me anyways? First of all, who really cares anyways? I don't think anybody important is watching this show. Not that none of you are important. You're important to me. I mean, I don't think anybody with the power to cancel me is watching this show. So whatever. Flowers to the lovely lady. Yes, thank you, Bianca. See, you're always looking out for me, Bianca. I really like that. You're always looking out for me when it comes to the ladies. Yes, shout out to Bianca. You got it. It's a Wonderful World by Louis Armstrong, the great Louis Armstrong. Yes. Louis Armstrong, who sang What a Wonderful World. She has covered this before, and she now sang it to them all while they were in outer space for 11 minutes before they came back down. Shout out to her. I mean, hey, if you're going to be the singer, then yeah, you might as well do that. I mean, they possibly could. They're not going to do that. I've talked about way worse stuff on this airways. Shit. Go back and watch the show from last Thursday. We were talking about a lot worse stuff. I saw why they all had makeup on and jewelry. It was a weird lunch. Yeah, it's funny you say that. So Katy Perry, in her interview before they started to Elle Magazine, she did an interview. She said, we're going to all get dressed up, and I'm paraphrasing here. She said space is going to finally be glam, and that they were going to put the ass in astronaut. So, yeah, hey, shout out to Katy Perry. She can get away with saying things like that, which I guess maybe I can't. But anyways, whatever. Update on Minecraft movie. We talked about how much money they made last week in the first biggest opening of a domestic movie this year. Well, Minecraft made another $80 million in its second weekend to become 2025 biggest seller thus far at the domestic box office. You can see how much power kids have over their parents and making them go watch a movie like Minecraft, which, while the actors in it, not bad. You got Jack Black, love me some Jack Black. You got Jason Momoa, not necessarily a fan, but a lot of ladies are. So good actors in the film, just not my thing. I wasn't a kid when Minecraft came out. I don't really get it. I mean, I get it. I get it's a virtual world where you can play with your friends and have all these battles and games. It's kind of like, I guess, when back in my day we had Nintendo 64 and 64, and we used to play GoldenEye together online. James Bond, what a classic game that was. GoldenEye may be the best Nintendo 64 game of all time. Maybe. I might have to do a ranking on that one time, possibly. But anyways, I do get that. So I do get it's the group dynamics that makes it. So I guess I just answered my question. But I still don't care for it. It's not something, and I've tried to play like the Roblox games before, like what the Minecraft characters are made out of, because they have games that are made for NBA and NFL. Like they have a Madden version of like the Minecraft. I tried to play that one time. I couldn't even get through a game. I was like, I'm not doing this. I turned that shit off like a minute into it. I was like, I can't. We have so much, the way that the graphics are on games now. Why would kids even play that? I mean, I was reading an article the other day about how kids these days, Gen Z and new Gen Alpha, are actually they're dumbing down. So they're getting rid of smartphones and going back to like flip phones. And even some people are going back to pagers, which is tremendous. I never got to have a pager as a kid. No shout out to my parents. And that's a shot at my mom and my dad. They wouldn't allow me to have a pager when I was growing up, even though all my friends and my cousins had pagers at like 8 years old. I wasn't allowed to have one. Probably because I would have got myself into trouble anyway, so it's probably a good idea. But I never got to have a pager, so I kind of want to have one. I might bring the pager back myself. So yeah, kids these days are dumbing it down. They're getting away from the smart and going back into the old days. So we'll see if that continues. 80s, Atari. Yes. Original Nintendo. Yes. I am a 80s baby as well. So I know about the Nintendo and the Atari and all that great stuff. That, man, I mean, Atari really started off with Pong and what was the one? I got it on my arcade machine back there. Yes, that is a. Come here, Testudo. Yes, that is an arcade machine. And yes, it does work. Don't act like I'm a broke ass. You can be lucky or get dusty. It does work. I have the game on there. I think it was like what's the one where you used to swing from the rope and jump over? You were the guy in the jungle something or whatever. I actually have that on my arcade. Tremendous. I'm gonna play it after the episode. But anyways, get back up there, Testudo. I love you. Oh, Retromania Wrestling. Love it. Anyways, so yeah, jungle hunt, anyways, used to swing on the rope and try to jump over the tremendous. Nintendo, I mean, what are we talking about? Tetris, Duck Hunt, the original Mario, Donkey Kong, that's what it was. I think it was Pitfall or Jungle Fall or something. I don't know. It was, you know what I'm talking about. You definitely know what I'm talking about. Sega. Oh yes. Actually, I had the Sega Dreamcast growing up. Yes, I was the outcast that had the Sega Dreamcast when no one else did. I actually still have it. It's sitting right over there. And I have a little handheld Sega that I bought, so it's kind of cool. Pitfall, yes. That's great. Donkey Kong, yes. Let's go. Love it. So, yeah. So, speaking of, we'll talk about Nintendo delaying the Switch 2 in just a second. Actually, we could talk about that right now, because what are we doing? We are moving into United States news. Yes, United States news, giving you our Donald Trump weekly update. Buckle in. It's been a week, y'all, as it is every week in our world. Anyways, what happened last week? We talked about Liberation Day. President Donald Trump put a 10% tariff on on every country in the world, including, as we talked about last week, since Bianca's watching, the Australian-owned, I think it's the Sound and Heard Islands or something like that, which are home to only penguins and seals, and no residents, and hasn't even had human residents since 2016. But Donald Trump still put a 10% tariff on them, which is freaking hilarious. It's great. That is tremendous work. Tax those damn penguins. It's great. And see, but this is what I'm talking about. Everything has to be so huge, right? For Donald Trump. Everything has to be so huge. Everything has to be the biggest and the best, from his crowd sizes to his, I don't even know, whatever. It's always got to be the biggest, the best plan, the biggest, the mass deportations, the mass cuts by Doge, the mass, whatever. And it's like, dude, you'd save yourself a lot of trouble and a lot of hassle if you just did things a little more niche, a little more targeted. Just be a little more precise, and you would save yourself half of the issues that you've gotten yourself into so far in your new presidency, which, if I may add, God forbid, had Joe Biden done anything that Donald Trump has done thus far, because Donald Trump would have ran him through the coals, would have dragged his ass through the coals. But I digress. Anyways, so what happened? Well, first, Israel Prime Minister, as we mentioned last week, Benjamin Netanyahu actually came in and talked to Trump about the tariffs to try to get a deal, even though we know they're in bed with the whole Israel, Gaza Strip, Hamas, Iran situation, which we'll talk about in just a second. So we don't need to even get into all that right now. President Trump provided a clarification later, actually walked back tariffs on most electronic products. So even after he he ramped up the tariffs against China to 125% after they ramped ours up to 145% on after we ramped ours up to 145% on China, they ramped theirs up to 125% on us. But then President Trump pulled back the tariffs on electronics for at least, he says it's a pause, but that helps China because we import $390 billion in electronics yearly. More than $100 billion come from China. So basically, when he puts that pause on the tariffs on electronics, that's letting those $100 billions from China come through untaxed. So technically, is it really the full tariff that he was saying? No. And so these are the things we have to look at, y'all, right? A lot of the things that President Trump has done has been enacted through executive actions, which are really not anything that is technically legal. Like, it's still, most of these things have to be, yes, there are certain cases where a president can override, but most of these things have to be ratified by Congress in order to actually be implemented. So a lot of times when he's signing these executive actions, they are more for show. They're more for the pageantry. Okay? So don't always expect everything that he announces or every executive action that he signs to actually come true or actually come to fruition, because not only most of the times is it not even fully legal because Congress hasn't decided on it, but also he's probably going to pull back on it, as we've seen him do with the tariffs against Mexico and China and so many other things. So again, countries around the world started to react. Companies around the world, Nintendo delayed the Switch 2. Jaguar said they're not going to send any more shipments into the U.S. of cars as well. On the flip side, right, what Donald Trump is hoping for, what President Trump was hoping for in this situation is to bring back investment, industry, factories, things back to America. Great. Sounds awesome. In theory. In theory, that sounds awesome. I'm a veteran. I love the United States of America. I, at one point in time, signed on the dotted line a willingness to sacrifice my life for this country. And I did it proudly. And I would have done it again in a heartbeat. But, so I love the United States. And I would love for that to be the case, what he is proposing. I would love for the United States to be able to bring all of these things back. And us to be a great American-made country again. There's a reason that happened in the first place. There's a reason why we don't make half the shit we used to. Because it can be made for 90% cheaper in so many other countries around the world. And whether you want to be patriotic and all of that, this, that, and the other, you can patriotic this, that, and the other till the cows come home. But if you can get something cheaper, 90%, if you're telling me I can go buy, and it's funny, I'm going to bring up this example because I watched a video on it today, because Chinese sellers now, y'all, are all over TikTok airing out companies, airing them out. I watched this one short where this Chinese guy, he was talking about how they were selling all these luxury purses, Gucci, Louis Vuitton, blah, blah, blah. And he said, and in the video, they said that they make 90% of those luxury goods in their manufacturing plants in China, and then they send them to these Italian countries, and all they do is stick a logo on it and then charge you $300, and the Chinese say it only takes them $10 to make. So those $300 Gucci bags you're buying, are only worth $10 because that's how much it takes the Chinese to make it. It's crazy. Crazy. So, I mean, there's a reason. Let me go check on these comments. I see I'm behind. My bad, y'all. Yeah. Hilarious, right? Yeah. He texts the Penguins. Well, look. Hey. I mean, the Penguins obviously got some money if they're renting out tuxes. I mean, they got some nice tuxes on. So they give me that money, Penguin. Come on. Come up with the dough, baby. Give me that money right now. Penguin blue waving tear is hilarious. Save me, Trump. I do not work. Yes. That's tremendous. Tremendous. And I mean, I can even prove it to you. Because one thing that Donald Trump has talked so much about within this production and bringing back factories and investments and all this stuff is he cites the car industry, the automotive industry, which is by far the worst example he could use. There's a reason why people choose Japanese cars over United States vehicles because they're just better made vehicles. They last longer. You're not going to have to go and get them fixed as much. The maintenance is less. The insurance is less. So when Donald Trump says, yeah, he wants to bring back automotive factory, there's a reason why we don't have automotive factories. The Japanese cars are much cheaper and much better than our cars. My dad and I are both veterans. And yeah, you're right, Pops. My dad's saying they're going to pay the whole world is going to pay. I said the global economy was going to be hurt by this. And what happened the next day, the global economy tumbled. Now, it has rebounded. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But yeah, you don't need to be an economist, to know that. No, China's not going to back down. China has no reason to back down. China owns a lot of us. So they have no reason to. And people are going to continue to buy from them because it's cheap. And again, let me give you one example. My dad and I are both veterans. When I was in the military and I needed a car when I lived in Hawaii, my dad bought me a Toyota. We didn't buy anything American. We bought a Toyota. A veteran buying his son, active duty military, a Japanese car to drive around the military base because they were just better cars. That's funny, Mom. Right? Because they're better cars. Now, granted, my next car, I went out and I bought a Ford. I bought American made. And you know what was funny about that? All my military brethren, a lot of the Caucasians, a lot of my white brothers and sisters, oh, fix or repair daily. Ha 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 ha. You bought a Ford, fix or repair daily. And you want to bring that back? Now, granted, shout out to Ford. My Explorer was a beast. And if it wasn't for me treating everything I own in life as a piece of shit, I'd probably still have my Explorer. Unfortunately, I treated it like it was a dirt bike instead of a car. And I pretty much ruined my Explorer, but those are more stories for another day. Like I said, I was a rebellious teen and 20-year-old. Yeah, right? Why are you going to pay $300 for some Jordans when you can buy them straight from China? And them Chinese retailers are on TikTok trying to sell you right now. I ain't going to lie. I've bought plenty of things from China because it was much cheaper. Right? Poppy! Heavy on the poppy. Light on the yayo. Poppy Chunyayo. Y'all tap in with my boy. Had my Toyota Celica since 2003. He's had a Toyota for 21 years. Driving all across Europe. And again, If it wasn't for me being a horrible driver, I'd probably still have the Toyota. But again, I treated that like a dirt bike and not like a car. I totaled it. I totaled both of them. Never said I was a good driver. That's why I don't drive now. To be completely honest. I shouldn't be a driver. No one should ever allow me to drive again. It's good because I don't even like to drive anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Right? So I did. I literally drove that thing into the ground. Literally. Actually, one time you came to save me from driving it into the ground. Oh, I'm glad you bring this up, Poppy, Ernest. I'm glad you bring this up. Timu, Wish, Shine, right? I'm glad y'all bring this up. Bianca, Temu, as the Spanish people say, is so huge. So if these tariffs actually go to fruition on China fully, on electronics and things like that, one thing you'll want to understand about this is Temu and those others, if these tariffs go into full effect, are going to be affected by this. You're going to have to buy straight from the actual Chinese retailers, because what happens is Temu, when they sell their products, there's actually what's called a de minimis exception in tariffs. And what that says is if your product is below $100, it's exempt from tariffs. And that's how Temu gets a lot of their low-priced goods over here so easily. Well, if those tariffs go into effect, President Trump is planning on eliminating that de minimis exodus, which would make Temu prices go up. So then you really have to buy straight from retailers, because Temu and all the rest are going to have to raise their prices because they're going to be hit with those extra tariffs. Now, still going to be way cheaper, so you're still probably going to buy anyways, right? Just something to look forward to that I actually had as a story on today's episode, so I figured, thank you, I should bring that up right now. Right? I have a Hyundai, but it was made in Alabama. Interesting. Very interesting. Maybe assembled in Alabama. Maybe assembled. I don't think I would highly doubt that those products or the actual components of the car were made in Alabama. Pretty sure it was probably just assembled in Alabama and all the parts came from China. But I could be wrong. I just don't think that U.S. factories actually, I could be wrong. Wow, really? Well, shit, I stand corrected. Thank you, Rock Chuck. I appreciate that. I stand corrected. Damn. Okay. Well, there you go. Learn a new thing every day. Still, for the most part, though, the point holds, right? That most of the ones that are built in Japan anyways, or for the most part, or even if you just look at that as, okay, but they're still using the factory plans from Japan. They're still using the assembly instructions that come from the original producer. So, I mean, yeah, you can look at it both ways. I'm sort of happy now I'm the supplier. Yeah, there you go. Hey, if you're if you can be the supplier and not the supplied, then you are doing very well, my friend. Just don't get high on your own supply, as Biggie taught us. And that would have been the 10 crack commandments. And that would have been commandment number never get high on your own supply. Number 7 was never get high on your own supply. So definitely, you're going broke. My producer says she's going broke with Temu. You're going to go broke some more once those prices go up. I'm about to get me a Temu pergola for a couple $100. I don't know what a pergola is, but it sounds fancy. Even made in America products will be affected. The manufacturing is too intertwined. And that's exactly what I said on this program last week. right? Global tariffs or tariffs across the world that we put on other countries are only going to inherently affect us, because once they start affecting those countries and making things worse in those countries, that comes back on us. As I ended my program last week saying, when you are the United States, the rest of the world's shit rolls up on us. You know how the old adage is, shit rolls downhill? The people at the bottom are catching the most shit. The lowest employees get the most crap, which is all true in all industries. It ain't true when you're in the United States. When you're the United States and you're the world power, shit rolls uphill. We get everybody else's problems. Just like we get everybody else's diseases, which is why we should be eradicating diseases overseas instead of taking money away from those things, which when Donald Trump and Doge and Elon Musk took out USAID funding, a lot of that goes to curing diseases overseas. And if we don't have money going to that, you may think, why are we supporting other countries? But when you don't have money to go eradicate diseases in other countries, that's bad. Those diseases are eventually going to get to us. How the hell do you think COVID happened? Lab leak or not? Don't ask me. Lab leak or not? I can understand the conspiracies. I could see it. Either way, the U.S. catches the rest of the world's crap. So when tariffs are put on the rest of the world and that makes it harder on those countries to do anything, that's going to make it harder on us. If the global economy takes a hit, our economy, the world leading economy, takes a hit. So let's talk about that. What happened after these tariffs? After these tariffs, oil was in a free fall. Oil was down 14% after 2 days after the tariffs were announced. It was the lowest level in 4 years, and was the lowest demand for fuel in 4 years. What else happened? The markets absolutely crashed. The global markets crashed. Now, I'm going to be fair because I am always fair on this program. I don't take any sides on this program. Y'all come here for neutral information to be learned. The stock market is up 5.7% this week. So the market has bounced back. But what happened between all that time in the last week? He announces the tariffs, markets, oil, everything free falls. Once he notices everything is in a free fall, he then decides to pause most of the tariffs or starts giving tariff reliefs to countries that are coming to negotiate, which I would agree with. That's what you should do. The issue is that the effects had already taken place. And the hits to even the billionaires like Elon Musk, like Mark Zuckerberg, took huge hits. They lost billions upon billions. And now again, the stock market is back up. Fine, right? But that little bit of time, that one little bit of global disruption causes a butterfly effect that will be seen years down the road. And if you don't think so, you're sadly mistaken. That 48-hour period from when tariffs were announced to when a lot of them were paused, if you think that that's not going to have an effect down the line, you are sadly mistaken. That will have an effect for years to come. Listen to the world's largest hedge fund, the owner of the world's largest hedge fund. Take it from him. Ray Dalio, founder of Bridgewater Associates on Meet the Press this weekend, said that several factors will contribute to the breakdown of a monetary system, and we could have a recession similar to the 1930s. He said, what is storeholded is wealth. That is a bond. In other words, one man's debt is another man's assets. Bondholders own the debt of other people. And so he continues, we're going to be in a situation where the storehold of wealth is in jeopardy because there's too much supply and demand. And then we have monetary inflation and we will have great disruptions. And he said it could be a breakdown like the monetary system of 1971. He said it could be like 2008, or he said it could even be even worse like the 1930s. He adds, the matter is the value of the money, the internal conflict in a way that is highly disruptive to a world economy and even military conflict. He goes on to talk about the monetary order, the new geopolitical order that came about in the 1940s. He continues to go on and offers a solution. He does agree with using America's strengths to negotiate, as Donald Trump is doing with some of these countries, which I as well agree with in the negotiation portion. But he also says the issue is when you have that monetary inflation and your GDP or your spending is not below 3% of your GDP, which is your gross domestic product, that's when you're going to start to see those global recessions. And y'all, 3% of GDP, that's very hard to get to. Most of the time, we're never even there. The government tries to stay at 2.5%, but rarely are we there. Rarely. I think we're now at like, someone can correct me on what our inflation is right now, but I believe it's like, or not inflation, but what our spending is percentage wise of GDP. But I believe it's 3.5%, 4%, something like that. So even Elon Musk is calling for free trade with Europe. He doesn't like all of Trump's tariffs because it's hurting his bottom line as well. Now, the EU is coming in this week to talk to Trump and negotiate about tariffs on the EU. So if your Trump was to get countries to come in and negotiate, that's awesome. You've done what you were supposed to do. But no one in their right mind, and I watch both conservative and liberal channels. I watch Fox News. I watch Newsmax. Sometimes I even watch crazy-ass OAN. I watch CNN. I watch MSNBC. I watch them all because I want to be informed of what both sides have to say. And the right, the conservative side of the aisle, came out and said, oh, it was his plan all along to come out just to have people negotiate. So his plan was to cause a global economy disruption that will have effects for years to come just to get people to negotiate. Again, I was born in the morning. I was not born this morning. I'm one of the smartest, if not smartest people I know. Which is probably not a good thing because you should probably have smarter people around you. But I'm just not here to brag about my intelligence, and you're not going to tell me that. No. He did what he wanted to do in a huge fashion because that's how he does things. And he said, let me tax the whole damn world because I can. He saw what happened. And then they got together and said, all right, we're just going to tell him we did this on purpose. Because there's no way you're going to tell me that he's going to sit there and he costed himself money. Don't think that he doesn't own stock. Because we're going to get into insider trading in just a moment here. Oh, yeah. Don't think I'm not going to bring up the fact that our president, after he announced these tariffs, went on to post on True Social, this is a great time to buy DJT. Which, by the way, if you didn't know what DJT is, it's his stock market ticker symbol. It's for Donald Trump Industries. He Literally, our president of the United States of America. Our president of the United States of America put a tariff on the whole world, causing a global economy disruption, including costing himself money. Then, when everything is depreciated, tells the whole world to go buy his stock. Then, after he's had a lot of people go buy his stock, because I can guarantee you within that few hour period, tons of his supporters went and bought stock. A few hours later, he pauses the tariffs, which causes everything to flip and go back the other way. So he made all this money within a few hour period and then cut off the supply. What world are we in right now? I literally said to myself when that news story came on the TV, I said, are we living in some sort of, is this a reality TV show? Is this the Truman Show? Am I Truman? You're kidding me, right? The president of the free world announced tariffs, subsequently told people to buy his stock, made money, and then paused the tariffs to cause everything to go the other way after he made enough money. And that shit went under the radar like nobody's business. Ain't nobody talking about it. I ain't heard nothing since. Nothing since. And the conservative side had a lot of backing on him as though that's not insider trading. Let me give you a little side eye action, as I am wont to do on this program. You expect me to believe that bullshit? You expect me to believe that? Come on. Come on. I continue to tell y'all. Every politician is in it for themselves. They do not care about you. They only care about money lining their pockets, and President Donald Trump is no different. Neither was Joe Biden. They're both the same. Neither was Barack Obama. Neither was Bill Clinton. Neither was, especially not the Bushes. Oh, don't get me started on the Bushes. Bush knocked down the towers. Conspiracy theory, all you want. I know the truth. I know the truth. Most of y'all don't know the truth. I know the truth. I was privy to all that information. I had a very high important position at one point in time before I fucked it all up, but I had a pretty high important position at one point in time. But the point is that you're not going to get me that wasn't insider trading. That's literally the definition. Literally the definition. Let me get back in some of these comments. I apologize. When I get to reading off my notes, I cannot see the comments. I listened to a news segment where they said that the tariffs will affect Christmas because 90% of the decorations come from China. Yep. That is not even something, that is a statement of fact is what that is. Talk about the Grinch that stole Christmas. That's great. Yeah. Well, if anybody, it would be him. My dog put tariffs on me for her treat. Hey, that dog said, you better pay up, Poppy. You better pay up. She doing every trick she knows. That's true. Kiss. I mean, it is. It really is. It really is. I mean, you can't defend that. You can't defend that. You really cannot defend that. Now, I'm going to get into insider trading in a second because they should not have no senators, no Congress people, no one. They should not be able to own stock. They just shouldn't. They have too much information. And I'll get into it. I did research on a study, and I'm going to go into the results in just a second. You're completely right. You're completely right, Poppy. I need to surround myself. I need to find smart, not that there's anything wrong with the people I'm with now. I love all of my friends, and my friends are very smart people. But I need to find some other really smart people too, that I can have them help me with my business. Because clearly I'm not smart enough to do it on my own. But you're right. That's what they say, right? They say you want to surround yourself with people who are smarter, make more money, do all these things because that's where you aspire to be to, right? So now it's not always that easy. Not all of us are blessed with a head start, as some people are in life. Not all of us are blessed with connections like other people are. I don't have any of that. I'm going to have to do everything from just hard work. Yep, you're completely right. And this is the thing. And that's what was so hilarious about it. And again, I don't care for either side of the aisle. But before Donald Trump got elected, he denied knowing anything about Project 2025 when literally Project 2025 was written by most of the people that were in his first cabinet. So let's just get that straight. Second of all, also backed by most of the conservative organizations. So, of course, everything, and we talked about this, Poppy, on our Country Box stream, everything that Project 2025 had listed out in its manifesto so far has been enacted by President Trump. And I knew he was lying when he said that. I knew he was lying when he said he didn't know. I mean, he's the same guy that say he doesn't know anything. That is his go-to. If it's something, the signal thing, I didn't know about it. He said he didn't know about Stormy Daniels, who Stormy Daniels was. He said he didn't know who the leader of the Ku Klux Klan was when there were pictures of him. Like, okay, so we get it. He's going to lie. Okay? Is he the president? Yes. Does he get the respect of the position of being a president, me being a veteran? Yes. Is he the biggest liar I've ever seen in my whole entire life? Absolutely. Absolutely. I have never known a bigger liar in my life. Now, granted, that's also how he got so far in life. You've got to be somewhat of a liar to get as far as he did. And whether you think that's right or wrong, wow. Wrong, right or wrong. Jeez Louise, I need some water. I don't have any. Whether you believe that's right or wrong, he's the president. He can do whatever he wants. And really, the Democrats, the left, they have no recourse. They don't own anything. The conservative side owns the House. They own the Senate. They own the presidential. They own all three branches of the government. The only thing the Democrats can do at this point in time is get enough momentum from all of these Americans that are pissed off about the DOGE cuts and immigration and whatever else. All they can do at this point is garner up all that momentum and use it in the midterms and get elected in the midterms. Now, as I mentioned last week with the Elon Musk backed judge in Wisconsin losing that election, that's a proxy for what we're going to see in the midterms. And if Donald Trump if his policies don't play out before the midterm elections, we could easily see this swing the other way for the next presidential race. Insider trading has always existed. Yes, it has. And I'm going to get into that in just a second. He definitely did. He just whipped his phallic out and slapped it on our foreheads. Just like an adult film star. He probably did the same thing to Stormy Daniels. Shout out. Iraqi kids used to come up to me and call George Bush a donkey and make the noises donkey makes. Hee-haw, Hee-haw. Hee-haw. Yeah, I mean, look, y'all. There's a lot of evidence out there for you to go do your own research. I am not into conspiracy theories and things like that, but that's where this is not a conspiracy theory. You can clearly go back, as very smart people say, you want to know the origin of something? Follow the money. Trace the money. And what happened? And this is public knowledge, so I am not saying anything classified at all. Go back and read the documents. The Bush family, George Sr. in particular, equipped and trained the Al-Qaeda, including Osama bin Laden. Let me repeat. The Bush family, specifically George Bush Sr., equipped and trained Al-Qaeda terrorists and Osama bin Laden. Osama bin Laden was trained in America. I don't know why y'all continue to think that these things are not interrelated and interconnected. All of these rich people, all of the most powerful people in the world are in cahoots. You think the Illuminati ain't real? Go back and rewind what I just told you. You think the Illuminati is not real? Rewind 20 seconds back and see what I just told you. Now, if you want to extend that out to the Bush family caused 9/11, I'm not going to. But I'll put it out there for you to. As the wise immortal technique once said, Bush knocked down the towers. Bush knocked down the towers. An oligarchy. They all are. They all are. It's an oligarchy. They're all in this together, y'all. All of the rich, powerful people all around the world are all in cahoots. You can be up in arms about the Saudi Arabia and their public investment fund and this and that, which a lot of conservatives are, but they just ignore the fact, because they're not blind, they know, but they ignore the fact that Donald Trump and his family makes money off of the Saudi Arabians. Y'all got to do research. And then the conservative side has the rich enough tapestry to come out and talk about Joe Biden and Hunter Biden's laptop and this and that and how they make money from Ukraine and all these other things and Clinton and Burisma and they ignore the fact that the Trump family makes money from Saudi Arabia, from China, from Russia. And if you don't think so, just go Google it. There's plenty of evidence out there. There are investigations and court cases and all sorts of things you can go look up. And the Simpsons do always get correct predictions, which is pretty crazy. My mom always sends me the little short videos whenever they get something right. I'm looking for land in the Caribbean or Africa, somewhere tropical. I feel you. I definitely feel that. A lot of people are. My mom is talking about moving back to Puerto Rico, so yeah, you never know. Yeah, I mean, it is. I mean, it's just, you just can't say that they're not. And yes, there you go. Right there. The Bohemian Grove. You want to look up some sick shit? Look up the Bohemian Grove. That's some crazy shit. That's the Illuminati having their weird sacrifice parties. You want to look even more into it? Look up the lady, and I forget her name. Somebody help me out here. But she's an artist. White lady, old lady, overseas. I think she's from like Europe or some shit. Rich as all get out. And she works with all the famous artists. You see her in pictures with everybody from Lady Gaga to Jay-Z. And she's like the ones that are like, she has them like drinking blood and things like this, like drinking human blood sacrifices. Like, y'all, thank you. Thank you, Poppy. Ibrahimovic. That's her name. Ibrahimovic. She be having these celebrity parties where they be like eating off of like dead bodies and just the sickest shit you could think of. Just the sickest shit you could think of. And they're probably the ones that are also fucking, let's be completely honest, those are also the ones probably trafficking kids and all this sex trafficking shit. And then want to come out and try to talk about Pizzagate when they're the ones doing the Pizzagate. Maybe that is all a cover up for their crimes. Just saying. Bianca. Ding, 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 ding. Now, I'm not saying I'm jealous. Do I wish I was, do I hope to be rich and be part of that powerful community at some point? Sure. I would love that. But that doesn't mean I would ever do any of that sick shit. That's just off the rails. I want to be rich so I can help people. I want to give back and help homeless people and poor people. I don't want to be rich to do none of this crap. You can keep that. You can keep that. Meat cakes? Nah, son. I don't want no meat cakes. I ain't trying to drink no blood. I don't even like the taste of my own blood. The fuck I'm going to drink somebody else's blood? Yeah, Jay-Z had a video. I seen him in pictures with her. He ain't throwing up the rock for no reason. You know what I mean? He ain't throwing up the rock for no reason. The rock is the Illuminati. The Illuminati is rock. Let's be completely honest. That's why he uses the all-seeing eye. Yeah, I mean, I hate it. It's sick. It's truly disgusting. The whole Diddy stuff. We've talked about that plenty of times on Banter, Brawls, and Bravado. We just talked about it last week. Go check out the episode 2 weeks ago on Thursday. We did an update on the Diddy case. That shit is sick. Even if you're doing it with all grown adults. You're having no 100-person sex party for what? Can't. I mean, maybe a threesome. I'm good. Maybe a foursome. Other than that, I don't even have that much energy. We just got crazy on here. Boppy. Ernest. Say it a little louder for the people in the back that can't hear you. Hey, they don't call it, they didn't say Sodom and Gomorrah was the worst place in history for no reason. It was the worst place in history because of all the debauchery and other things that they did in that point in time. Which is why God came down and wiped them all out. Because they were all heathens. I don't know what you heard, producer. Mom, I'm sorry. Whatever you heard, I apologize. I really wish you weren't watching the past 15 minutes. Sorry. Anyways, let's keep going before my mom gets upset at me. So anyways, let's talk about this insider trading. Members of Congress are required to publicly disclose stock trades valued at over $1,000 within 45 days. So if any of the politicians, especially on the conservative side, actually took Donald Trump's advice and invested during that period of paused tariffs, or during that period before the paused tariffs, then we will find out here in 45 days. They are calling, the left, Democrats are calling for investigations into the insider trading. They're actually calling for the SEC chairman as well as state attorneys to look into whether Trump or other people within the administration make money off of this, what was clearly insider trading. Clearly. I mean, again, you can't tell me it wasn't. And the fact that that a lot of people, including himself, had lost so much money in the stock market at that point. For him to capitalize on that by making money to make his money back that he lost while screwing everybody else, including every normal day Americans like you and me, it's pretty messed up. Don't you think? Even if you are his supporter, don't you think that's a little messed up? That he was trying to capitalize on making money off of these opportunities while you were losing money? I don't care. I don't own stocks, so I don't care. I don't have a foot in the stock market. I don't have a 401k, so I could care less about any of that. But a lot of his supporters do. Right? A lot of people do. Pretty much everybody. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But as I said, the global economy was going to crater. It did. Now the global economy again is bouncing back this week. But this is going to have ripple effects, a butterfly effect for years to come. Years to come. And that's clear stock manipulation. Clearly. So let's think about this. There have been scandals relating to members of Congress all the way back to 1968, the first scandal, right? When they found that, the first evidence of Congress people making money off of stocks that they could or could not have had, did have information on previously. So, evidence from the investment performance is mixed and provides a diverse range. But in April 2012, the United States Congress passed the Stock Act, Stop Trading on Congressional Knowledge Act, which made it clear for the first time that laws against insider trading apply to members of Congress. That also applies to president, vice president, all cabinet members, etc., right? People are supposed to announce all $1,000 stock purchases within 45 days. However, we've known plenty of times that this has happened. And who has ever been charged and punished under this act? I have the answer for you. Zero. Zero politicians have been charged on the Stock Act since 2012. And you can't tell me that no Congress people have made money off of insider trading on stocks in the past 13 years. Because that's not true. Just not. It's just not. I just gave you one example. It's just not. Okay? It's just not. For example, between early February and early April of 2020 during the COVID-19 pandemic, 12 senators made 227 stock purchases worth as much as $98 million. And 37 members of the House made 1,358 trades worth as much as $60 million. So during COVID, 45 senators and members of the House made purchases and trades to the tune of $158 million. And not one of them had insider information. Side eye again. Side eye again. Don't be stupid. Don't be naive. Don't. It's not possible. It's not. 45 of them and not one of them. Okay. All right. You keep living under that dark rock you live under. Let me go into this study I read. I went out and read a study today from the National Library of Medicine, Biomedical Medicine, and they did a study on the actual correlation between Congress people's stock purchases and the information available to those congressmen before they purchased the stocks. What they found, now listen to this, y'all. Check this out. They came up with a metric called information asymmetry. And they wanted to find out whether senators' trades were associated with a higher or lower level of information asymmetry. Meaning, did senators, House members actively engage in trades when they had higher levels of information, possibly insider information, or lower? What they found was, based on this, senators earned significant market-adjusted returns, 5% over 3 months, right? 5% over 3 months, which is a lot. So what they found was that results that show senators' trades generally beat the S&P 500 over those intervals ranging from 1 week to 3 months after they made the trade, characterized by increased high levels of information asymmetry, consistent with the notion that senators' connections with access to knowledge on legislative or lobbying activity may inform such transactions. And if you think politicians who are literally the people lobbying on these issues and making the money, fundraising the money for these issues, don't have the insider information when they're literally the ones passing the bills, you again are being extremely ignorant. And you're clearly not watching this show, because you would have been a lot smartened up from me by now. Because the professor has told you this time and time again. There is no social contract. Politicians don't owe us anything. Are they supposed to, with what their job entails? Yes. Do they actually? No. A social contract theory suggests that an ethical politician would not violate any of the moral propositions of fairness, harmlessness, honoring property rights, and fiduciary relationships. But on a consistent basis, they break those four all the time. All the time. There is no social contract. They do not care about you. I'm going to continue to repeat this till I'm blue in the face. They do not care about you. All you Democrats, they don't care about you. All you Republicans, Donald Trump doesn't care about you. Donald Trump don't even care about his own damn family. The only person I actually think Donald Trump likes in his family is Barron. That's the only one I think he likes. He definitely don't care for Don Jr. or Eric. He sure as hell don't care for Tiffany. I don't even think he knows Tiffany's his daughter. I remember the one time, hilarious. He was doing I think it might have been at the election party when he got elected. And he shook Eric and Don's hand. I remember because I texted my mom right away. I was like, did you see that? He shook Don and Eric's hand and literally walked right by Tiffany. I was like, how are you going to do that to your own daughter? That's messed up. So I truly, I could go deeper into that, but there's no need. Just know that these people don't care about you, and they are making trades based off of high information asymmetry, based off high degrees of information that they have. And they measured this information asymmetry against they even took into account the degree of importance of the senator. What is their position? What is their age? Would they have more information? For instance, Chuck Schumer, right? Mike Johnson. These people would have more information than a I don't know, a John Fetterman or a Nancy Mace or something like that. Right? Also, many of the same factors explain the buy and hold market adjusted returns of stocks purchased by senators. They always seem to know when to buy and when to sell. Isn't that a little strange? Or is that just a coincidence? I'll let you be the judge. It shouldn't be allowed. Senators should not be allowed. Congressmen should not be allowed. Presidents, vice presidents, no one in those positions of power should be able to make money off of stocks because they clearly have an advantage in what they know. Cool. All right, keep it moving on. Oh, here we go. Catching up on the comments. My bad, y'all. You know, once I get into looking at my notes, I got to get away from the comments for a second. So hold on. Let me get back in here. All right. Oh, hey now, my boy Poppy. That's why they call you Poppy, huh? Been invited to a couple key parties in your day, huh? Look, I don't even know that. I don't even think I'd mind a key party. I'd be cool with a key party. It's the other stuff. It's when you take it past that. I'd be cool with a key party. My only problem with a key party, though, would be that the person I came with, you know what I mean? It couldn't be like your wife or your girlfriend if you really loved her. That's not me. I'm not a cuck. I don't want nobody. Let's keep this moving. Let's keep this moving before we do get. This episode might get me canceled. I'm not sure. This episode might get me canceled. If I am canceled or assassinated by next week, if you do not hear from me next week, search your local hospitals and jails. They may have tried to come after me, the Illuminati. That is, they wanted black military dudes in Germany. I mean, come on now, right? Like, really? I mean, now I know there's a lot of black people that have served in Germany, but I get your point. You want me to go where the worst dictator in history, the worst person in history, Hitler, holocausted millions of Jewish people? Nah, I don't want that. Now, I was born in Germany, so I can't really say anything. I do want to go back and visit. I was born there. My dad was stationed there. That's where I was born in Frankfurt. So I actually have a special place in my heart for Germany. Obviously, I was born after all that, but yeah, it's not a good history for them. Some of the homies used to go hand out the Hebrew. Stupid. He says, one, I had my choice of women overseas, or I had a girlfriend at the time. Otherwise, I might have obliged. I'm not even mad at you. So many beautiful women in Europe. I did zero discrimination. I hear the women in other countries, Europe, and Bianca, maybe you can help me out. I hear the Australians love a good American man. Now I don't know if that's changing with Donald Trump in office now, but I know I am going to travel the world and try to leverage, let's just say, those sort of advantages. Poppy Tune Tarzan, stupidest. You're so dumb. Target and Walmart made out like the mob during COVID. They sure did. And it is a wonder. I do side with a lot of people on the conservative side on this. Why they left liquor stores and other places like that open but closed the churches. If you're going to let somebody get sick, let them get sick anywhere. Who am I? I'm a biomedical. Are you really, Poppy? Are you really? Holy shit. Damn. Well, I'm glad I surround myself with you because you might be smarter than me. All right. Pelosi, she does the same thing. Champ, Pelosi ain't no different. Pelosi done made so much money off of insider trading, it could fill her eyeballs. I don't like Pelosi. I could care less for Nancy Pelosi. I believe Nancy Pelosi is well, you know what? Let me keep my they say if your mom said if you don't have nice things to say, don't say nice things. I don't care for Nancy Pelosi. I don't care for Chuck Schumer. I don't care for any of them really in those high positions. I don't care for Mitch McConnell. Any of them in those really high positions, which is why, again, I'll go back to last week. Term limits. Please, for the love of God, we need term limits. 20-year term limits, no more, and age limits. You should not be a politician after the age of 75. And I know that eliminates President Trump, and it would have eliminated President Biden. I think both of them should not be presidents at this age. I'm sorry. Because if you're close to 80, you got a lot less mental cognition than someone in their 30s and 40s. And yeah, I know, right? I know. They came out, said President Trump had the great, health checkup. He's doing awesome, which is great. Good for him. I'm happy for him. I wish him nothing but great health because I don't wish, bad things on anyone. But you can't be in that great of health at 78 years old. Sorry. You just can't. It's not possible. You're closer to death than anything else. You're closer to death than middle age at that point. So, Bianca says, I've seen a video where Elon and his son were in the Oval Office. Kid clearly walks up to him and tells him that he's not the president. Yeah. Well. Hey, some people on the left were saying that Elon Musk was president for a while there. Don't think Donald Trump liked that very much. Donald Trump said, Elon, you gotta go, sucker. Get back to Tesla. We ain't got no time for this. So Trump is actually kicking Elon Musk back to the curb. Let's see what else. Trump's kid probably been to Epstein. I know Trump's been there plenty of times. But his survivors, the supporters on the right, will be real quick to point out Oprah and whoever else were on these imaginary flight logs that we still haven't seen, even though they were supposed to have been released a couple weeks ago. But there were no actual concrete names. We'll see what happens. But anyways, okay. All right, cool. Let's just moving. So in some other news before we get out of here, Senate confirmed President Donald Trump's pick for the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Trump's nominee, retired Air Force Lieutenant General Dan Kane, it's a cool nickname, was confirmed by a Senate vote of 60-25, bipartisan, although significantly less than the Senate Armed Services Committee approved advancement to the Senate floor, which was a vote of 23-4. Unlike the Pete Hegseth nomination for Secretary of Defense, which I did not agree with wholeheartedly, I do agree with this nomination. I do like this nomination. He has a military background. He flew F-16s after 9/11. He served in Iraq. He got up to a 3-star general. So this I do agree with, as I know I've said, especially about Tulsi Gabbard and Pete Hegseth, how they weren't experienced or qualified enough for their positions. This guy is clearly experienced. So salute to him. In some positive news, scientists at Northwestern University have developed the world's tiniest pacemaker, smaller than a grain of rice, y'all. A pacemaker, smaller than a grain of rice. That's crazy. You're telling me something that's supposed to monitor my heart and make sure it's working correctly can be smaller than a grain of rice? How can it have all those electronics in there? And it can be inserted with a syringe. This device could revolutionize heart surgery, offering a minimally invasive way to regulate the organ. Pacemakers are small battery devices operated devices that assist heartbeats with irregular rhythms by sending small electrical shocks to help the heart beat normally. That's crazy, y'all. If this comes to be into full production, this new invention, although it's going to be years before it can be tested on humans, this could change the game for heart patients and our elderly and all kinds of different things that can be used. So what happens is the small size is due to the power source, which is a galvanic cell, which is a simple battery that uses body fluids to convert chemical energy into electrical energy. How crazy is that? mind blown. It's so amazing what we can do with science. That's awesome. So shout out to those scientists at Northwestern University. Moving on into, we're moving in. Yeah, actually, you know what? Yep, let's go ahead and do that. We're going to move on into our world news before we get out of here for the night. And I thank y'all for staying tuned in. Y'all are amazing. All of y'all have stayed tuned in the whole time. I've had the same number of people, over 30 people on the live. I appreciate y'all. It has been 2 hours and 40 minutes I've been streaming live, and y'all stayed with me the whole entire time, which means you're enjoying this content. I cannot thank you enough from the bottom of my heart how much I truly am humbled and appreciate your loyalty and your fanship. Please hit that like button. Help us out in the algorithm if you're watching right now, as well. Subscribe at Ball and Buds, BALLANDBUDS. This is a good point, though. That is a good point, Poppy. You do start to cross sort of an ethical line then when you start to introduce artificial intelligence with human anatomy or robots and humans. Then we start looking into, are we going to use human actual, minds into putting those into robots, which they're doing already. So they are doing. So that's definitely something that we have to think about. And I mean, I've said it plenty of times on this show, usually in jest, but I'm not really joking when I say robots are going to take over the world. If you believe that there is not going to be a Planet of the Apes like robot revolution in the future, you're sadly mistaken. Now, will any of us be alive for that? No. Anybody watching this stream right now, including myself, will be dead by the time that happens. But well, actually, Poppy, you put me on to that Don't Die documentary. If someone can figure that out, maybe someone will stay alive for the robot revolution. But at this point in time, not any of us will be alive for that, but the robots will eventually conquer and take over the human population. It's going to happen. People should have paid attention to those weird boy Christian cults in D.C. They got their poison ivy veins all throughout D.C. Agreed. It's funny that the conservative side will tell you that they don't have the same kind of power. You know how they always, the left or the what do they call it? The cabal of the left and George Soros and all this other stuff is rich and hilarious, considering the conservative sides have their own sorts of George Soros and other types of cabals. And if the left actually did have some secret cabal, don't you think they wouldn't have let Donald Trump take over? I'm just saying. All of them are interrelated. We got to keep telling y'all this. They all work hand in hand. You think these Republicans and Democrats don't go home at night and call each other on the phone and watch TV together and go out to drinks and shit? Yeah, okay. You keep thinking that. We use crystals for medical sensors. I've built some cool stuff. I definitely like to talk about that. I love stuff you do with crystals and other things. We listen to you for that. I know, right? I'm surprised you didn't know. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. It's not. It really isn't. We're going to see the Terminator. We really will. So for sure, that's definitely gonna happen. Yeah, come with me if you want to. That's right. Shout out. Thank y'all for tuning in. Yeah, so it's definitely going to happen. So we'll see what happens. All right. World news. I know I didn't bring up my my Donald Trump slide I had earlier, but I did make a slide for our world news because, yes, we've got some world news to talk about here. There is a deal going down, or a reported negotiation going down between the United States and Iran on a nuclear deal. Now, we have seen this plenty of times before, right? We have seen this plenty of times before where Iran has been talked into some sort of nuclear proposition where they pause uranium enrichment, but then they always get back into producing it because you think they stopped, they never did. If you really think they're not producing that uranium the whole entire time, again, you are sadly mistaken, because they are. So the U.S. and Iran are talking right now about a nuclear deal. We will see what happens as they continue talks this week. But one thing that President Trump has done, and I could in 50% complete agreement with, is the way that he has handled Iran and the Houthis and all of the other terrorist groups. I do like the hardline stance that he is taking, and he said that the Iran would be held accountable for anything that the Houthis did, which I agree with, since that's where they are based out of. So again, Donald Trump does some things that are not necessarily anything you want a president to do, but at the same time, within this second term, he has done some things that are going to be good for the United States in the long run. And one of those things is the denuclearization of Iran, is the ceasefire of Hamas and Israel, or the ceasefire in Ukraine and Russia, both of which we haven't seen, but at least he's putting it out there in the stratosphere for it to be a thing that could possibly manifest, which was not something that was done before. So we'll see what happens there. The ceasefire talks, as I mentioned, in Ukraine and Russia have not worked so far. Russia attacked Ukraine again over the weekend, killing 34, wounding 80 in a Palm Sunday services attack on the Ukrainian city of Sumy. That's jacked up, y'all. That's jacked up. Now Russia's out here bombing churches during the middle of services. That's jacked up. And I know Russia claims only to strike military and paramilitary targets. But again, if you believe that, you are sadly mistaken. Russia, Vladimir Putin, the Kremlin, they do not care about human or civilian life, not even their own humans or civilians in Russia, much less Ukrainians. And they have attacked and killed lots of innocent civilians since the war started. There is roughly 13,000 civilians, including more than 600 children, that have been killed in Ukraine due to the Russian war. So take that for what you will. That is actually out of I accidentally deleted the resource that I got that from, but that was like a global war academy, global war council. Yeah, that's what it was. A global war council, where they do like studies on all the different countries and the percentages that wars may happen or how wars can be ended, stuff like that. So very interesting information if you've ever looked into it. What else on the world front? Oh, did you hear about during the massive deportations that we have been doing here in the United States? There was one gentleman by the name of Kilmar Abrego Garcia who was arrested in Baltimore on March 12th. Now, you may have heard about this because this has been the hot button issue for these mass deportations, because apparently, even though President Donald Trump and the administration claim that this guy is MS-13, they have not given any direct evidence to the court to support that he was. But he was deported as an illegal alien in those mass deportations to El Salvador, where he has remained in a El Salvadorian prison for over a month. Now, again, the Donald Trump's administration, in order to enact these deportations, is using the Illegal Criminal Aliens Act of 1791, in which you are able to deport illegal aliens based on even just having a hint, even just having information that a person could be a terrorist. So there was a tip put out on this guy a few years ago that he was MS-13. But that tip was never corroborated. And I'm not here to defend any terrorist or any criminal. If he is a criminal or was MS-13, then good. He should be, because they all should be. But at the same time, you've got to have some sort of evidence for that. And when you don't present the courts with the proper amount of evidence, it then just looks like, again, you're just doing things in mass, and there could be so many innocent people that are taken in these waves, in these Doge cuts, in all these other things that are ending up losing jobs, losing lives, getting arrested, whatever. Now, you may be on the right, the conservatives, which will say, and I was listening to a podcast earlier that is conservative, and the guy said, oh, well, some casualties of war sort of thing is what he said. He said, oh, well, if some innocent people get deported, but we get the majority of criminals out, he said he's okay with that. And that's the majority of how the conservatives feel about this. If they deport 100 people and 95 of them were criminals and 5 were innocents that just happened to be taken along, the conservative side is going to tell you they're okay with that. Again, I'm not here to tell you right or wrong. You make your own judgment, but that's definitely the opinion of the right, because I've heard it plenty of times. That would be my opinion. That would be my opinion, Poppy. 5 too many, which is why I say things need to be more targeted and niche rather than huge, right? If he was just a little more targeted in the Doge cuts, in the illegal immigration and all these things, we wouldn't have these issues. Because it is. No one here, and again, that's positions of the conservatives, that even if you're here illegally as an alien, even if you're not a criminal, you're still here illegally, and that is a crime. I can't say that they're not right about that. But again, take your time. Do things the right way. Too many veterans lost their jobs during the Doge cuts because they just want to do everything in mass, because Donald Trump has to have everything be the biggest it has to be, because he cannot have it any other way. It has to be a spectacle, or it's not good enough for him. But what happens is innocent people lose jobs, lives, veterans are costed jobs, and it's sad. Morning Wombat, you're spot on, Professor. Russia is trying to press their advantage because they know Trump won't hold them accountable. They want to improve their negotiating position as much as possible. You're right. And we talked about that last week when we talked about Russia taking back the province of Kursk, which is a huge negotiating, a huge part of land that will be huge in the negotiation process, because it's part of Ukraine that has the majority of the Earth's minerals that we are looking to harvest, which is not a good thing if Russia controls that, because then we don't get it. Right? So anyone who wants that mineral deal with Ukraine, if Russia owns that land, they're not going to give it to us. And that's another thing. It's very rich for Donald Trump to come out and talk about how Joe Biden did nothing about the Russian-Ukraine war, which he didn't. He didn't. He's right about that. Joe Biden did nothing about it for years. But at the same time, Trump's not doing it. He can talk a big game and say he wants a ceasefire. But if he really did, he would have already gotten Putin to do it. Putin and Trump are hand in hand in this, y'all. What are we doing? Why do you think he took Russia's side when Vladimir Zelensky came into the Oval Office? Remember that a few weeks ago when Trump and Vance lit into Zelensky, made him look like a little biatch? I mean, very good spectacle. TV was excellent that day. He is. He's blamed everything on them. He even had the nerve to come out and say that Ukraine started the war, which if you watch this program or you've listened to Ball and Buds for the past few years since I started a podcast, you will know that's not true. I have covered this war extensively in the past 3 years over the audio and visual video versions of my podcast. Not only just because I have a lot of knowledge in this area, because let's just say I'm a world historian from my military days, but there is a lot of blame being assigned to Ukraine when Ukraine had nothing to do with this whatsoever. Vladimir Putin literally walked into Ukraine and took over. And this has been going on for a long time. He did it back in 2014. He just took a break for a little bit to get his troops back up. He don't even care about his own troops. He's willing to have mass casualties, which he has. There's been so much Russian loss of life. He doesn't care. Think Putin cares about the Russian soldiers? Nah. They don't. You know what I mean? Sean Ryan. I'm going to have to check out Sean Ryan. I don't actually know Sean Ryan. I'm going to check him out. Thank you for that. I'll check that out after I get off. Again, with the penguin waving tier, I love it. I wish I could actually see the emoji. It doesn't show up here, but penguin protest march against Trump's terror. That's great. That's tremendous. You know what? That Morning Wombat, the most hilarious thing about Donald Trump that I just cannot get over is how obsessed he is with Joe Biden. I'm like, dude, you won. You won 6 months ago. Let it go, dude. Let it go. He's not even in the public eye anymore. Let him rest, son. Like, why every time you say something, do you need to bring Joe Biden into it? There's not even a need for that. You were literally voted in over him. So people know, at least your supporters do, that he didn't do enough because they voted you for a reason. Stop bringing it up, dude. I have to think about how many times a day does Donald Trump think about Joe Biden? I think about, let's just randomly make up some subject. Let's say that I met this girl, right? Which I did. And let's say that I've been thinking about this girl all day, which maybe I have. That's what I imagine Donald Trump is doing. I imagine Donald Trump is like thinking about Joe Biden all day long. Like, how many times does the name Joe Biden run through his mind? Like, wouldn't you get sick of that at some point? Dude, let it go. You won. You don't need to compare yourself to Biden. You don't. You won. People know that Biden didn't do a good enough job. That's why he was voted out. Stop it. It makes you look petty. It makes you look so petty. So petty. When you just, every time, oh, well, the stock market, the best it's ever been. It wouldn't have been this way if I wasn't handed it by Biden. Like, we know you were handed it by Biden. You ain't got to tell us that. You know what I mean? Oh, we wouldn't have had all this immigration if it wasn't for Biden. We know. You tell us every day. Let it go. My man, you act like you got a crush on him. Are you infatuated with him like I am on old chick? Because, damn, dog. I'm not a Biden fan either. I'm not. I don't think Biden did a good job. I don't think he did a good job. I think he did as well as he could with what he was given, considering coming out of Donald Trump's first term and COVID and all that, not blaming necessarily COVID on Donald Trump. Yes, he obviously I need water, exacerbated the issue by playing it down and saying that it wasn't real, but I don't blame him for COVID origins. But yeah, Biden did okay with what he was given, but he didn't do a great job. I'm not at all okay with the job that Biden did as president. No, I'm not. I think it could have been way better. But I think the same thing about Donald Trump's first term. And I think the same thing about Donald Trump's second term so far. I mean, honestly, the last times I can even think that America might have been in a decent spot, Clinton's second term, Bill Clinton's second term, maybe. Nope. Bill Clinton's second term. Bill Clinton's second term was the last time. that America was a place where we were in a really good spot. Ever since then, even though I was going to say Obama's second term, but the problem then was that was when Donald Trump was starting to come out and run, and the divisiveness between Donald Trump and Barack Obama caused a huge divide in our community and in our country, which continues to this day between black and white. And it's caused so much just issues and problems between my black and white brothers and sisters. And it shouldn't be that way. We should all love each other and get along because we are all brothers and sisters in this human race. It doesn't matter your skin color. I love you whether you're white, black, brown, yellow, blue, green, purple, bear, penguin, shark, white tiger, otherwise, Martian, camel. That's me. But I know that there is that divide in the United States. And I know it's something that needs to be fixed because it's causing huge problems. And eventually we could also have a civil war. I can't even say that that's out of the realm of possibilities. I can't. No, I haven't, but I'll definitely check it out. Actually, I need to write that. I don't have my pen with me. I'll try to remember that. Maybe send me a, I won't remember to look at the comments. I'll have to just remember. Sean Ryan. Look, most people would say Biden was a puppet in office and probably wasn't even alive for most of that time. And again, that's why there needs to be age limits. You should not be a politician over the age of 75. Joe Biden, Donald Trump, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, Mitch McConnell. None of these people should be politicians at all. They just shouldn't be allowed to. Because after 75, you're not as mentally cogent as you once were. Sorry, you're just not. It's not possible. You don't have as many brain cells. It's just not possible. But is he alive? I haven't heard about where Biden's been. As far as I know, he's up in his Rehoboth, which, by the way, was another great thing about Donald Trump. Because we were talking about Donald Trump comparing him or always bringing up Joe Biden. Donald Trump talking about Joe Biden always taking vacation while Donald Trump went to a 4-day golf tournament after he announced all the tariffs and people were losing their money. Imagine had Joe Biden done some stuff like that. Donald Trump would have raked him through the coals, would have dragged him through the streets. And that's part of it. It just makes him look real petty. It just makes you look real petty when you're willing to bash on somebody that isn't bashing on you. And a lot of times when you're just making stuff up. Every time he has to clean up a mess, again, I'm not saying that Biden did a great job, right? But also not everything that happened out of his administration was his doing either. Just like the origins of COVID wasn't Donald Trump's fault. It's not like the economy that Biden inherited from Trump was his fault. It wasn't. Trump was the one that downplayed COVID and said it wasn't real, which caused millions of people to die. We just got to be straight up with that. When COVID came to the United States for the first 2 weeks to a month, Donald Trump said, don't worry about it. He literally said that. And people didn't worry. And a lot of people lost their lives. A lot of his supporters lost their lives. Me too, Bianca. Me too. Yeah. Term limits and age limits. Age limit 75, term limit 20 years. Boom. Make it happen. Make it happen. Yeah. Joe Biden did some creepy stuff. The pictures with, him, even giving kisses to little kids on their head. I don't get down with all that. But whatever. Maybe it's the old grandpa thing. I don't know. But I do know that you just gotta move on. Stop making yourself look petty. Prop up what you're doing. You do a good enough job of that. You're a bluster strong man. You're good at doing that. Do that. Business carries on when Trump not there. They are not the same. I don't know that I get that. But business carries on. I mean, I don't think that has anything to do necessarily with presidents. Unless you do something like tariffs that harm the global economy. But for presidents, yes. For presidents, yes. Yep. 8 years. I meant 20 years. That was for senators and congressmen. 8 years for president. I agree. Yeah, that's very sad. Very sad. And anyone that harms any children, you are a sick person and you deserve to die. And I don't wish death on anybody, but if you harm a child, you get what you deserve. All right, moving on. U.S. Where was I going? Already talked about that. Already talked about China pausing exports. Oh, they're also pausing exports of rare minerals, which is going to hurt us because that's what we need for semiconductors and other things. All right, cool. Well, that was actually it. All right. Yeah, that was my last note, that China, on top of the tariffs, they halted exports waiting on a new regulatory system. And it says that the Chinese could permanently stop exports to certain companies, including U.S. military contractors. Because what you have to remember is most of our military contractors buy all of the heavy rare earth metals from China. China owns 90% of the world's rare earth magnets. And I mean metals. Magnets. We get so much stuff from China. Anything that harms China is going to harm us. That's where we get our vibranium from. You know what I mean? We don't go all the way to Wakanda to get our vibranium. I mean, the Chinese give it to us stuff. You know what I mean? Come on. Yeah, and I guess you could say that. I guess you could say, okay, 8-year term limit, because you would then want, if the presidency was to flip sides, then you would want the whole Congress and Senate to also flip. Okay, I could see that. So then you would just basically want a revolving Republicans, Democrat, every 8 years sort of thing. Actually, I don't know that I necessarily mind that idea. It's actually not a half bad idea, if that's what you were thinking, or maybe I just made it up. Maybe it should be 4 years. Every 4 years. 4 years a Republican, 4 years Democrat. And then that way you never know you're never going to have a stranglehold of one party. Yeah, maybe. Honestly, think there needs to be a third party. Obviously not the Green Party or whatever. That's not going to work. Some sort of independent party that can merge the best of both worlds. Yeah. If you can't remember where you put the fork at, you probably shouldn't be president. Agreed. Again, over the age of 75, you should not be a politician at all. I believe you've lost your faculties by that point and an ability to be cogent enough to make these decisions. Know what I mean? Hey, it is what it is. Oh my God. Thank you so much to all of you. I know that I am going to go to sleep tonight. I am going to say my prayers before I go to bed, and I am going to thank God for each and every one of you. There are still way more people than I mean, there were over 30 live at the beginning of the show, and now we're up to 40 live, and y'all have stayed with me the whole entire 3-hour show. Yes, I just talked by myself for 3 hours. I need water. I need some other accoutrements. I need to go take some flight and get my buzz on for a little bit. IYKYKY. IYKYK. Oh, there's no other Y. I don't know. I'm not a kid. I don't use these kid terms. All right, I got the Riz. That's the first time I ever said Riz. Sounded weird. I'm not going to say that again. Sounds weird. Doesn't sound good coming from a 40-year-old. Yeah. And I still talk very, 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 very young. Well, when I'm on here, I like to use my extended vocabulary. But on the streets, I use my slang. Because I'm a I was about to say that wrong. I'm a man in the streets, but a freak in the sheets. What? Anyway. No, I know. I was talking about 20-year term limits for senators and Congress people. I want to make sure I state that. Obviously, the 8 years for the president is already in place. I agree. I was saying that for myself, I think it should be 20 years. Yes, Rock Chalk said 8 years, and I think Rock Chalk meant that for Congress, Senate, everybody. I can see that. Maybe 12 years. Let's agree on 12. And the only reason I say that is because if you do have a party that does have control for 8 years, if you're a senator or a congressperson on the other side of the aisle that didn't have the controlling party for those first 8 years, you wouldn't be able to get much done for your constituents. So you would need 4 years of your own party. 12 years. Can we make an agreement on 12 years? All right. Oh, and I love you. Thank you, Bianca. Thank y'all, everybody. I really appreciate that. 8 for everybody. Okay, cool. Yep, got it. Go get your thank on. Yes, for the pretty lady. Yeah. Oh, you know, I'm going to hit her up here in a second when I get my accoutrements in, see what she's talking about, see if she wants to hang out before I leave. By the way, if you live in Virginia, in the DMV, I will be home Friday. Yes, I leave Nashville, flying out Friday for my birthday weekend. I'm going to be hitting up Vegas. I'll be covering WrestleMania in Vegas Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday I'll be back home in Virginia. Clubber D and I will have WrestleMania Night 2 live reaction stream for the whole show. So if you want to watch 3 hours of hilariousness of me and Clubber D talking crap about old school and new school professional wrestling and a bunch of other friends maybe coming on and joining us, check us out Sunday night, WrestleMania Night 2 live reaction, me and Clubber D, the Combat G as well. Tomorrow night, check me out on the Bottom Line Sports. Make sure you join the Facebook group at the Bottom Line Sports Facebook group. All the sports news and trash talk. Catch Can the Statman, Hot Take Jake, myself, and we will have special guest NFL insider and DMV insider Shane Peacher. We will be talking about Alex Ovechkin. We'll do an NFL mock draft and all of that tomorrow night. Then Wednesday night, special edition of Banter, Brawls, and Bravado, WrestleMania edition. Hot Take Jake, myself, Pro Wrestling Insiders, Shane Peacher, and from IOW, our brother and Pro Wrestling Insider, Wild Card Mar, as well as hopefully a special guest appearance from Clubber D, and we will be going over a preview of all of the WrestleMania action for this weekend. 8 p.m. Eastern tomorrow night, Bottom Line Sports. 8 p.m. Wednesday, Banter, Brawls, and Bravado. WrestleMania Night 2, probably 6 or 7 Eastern on Sunday with Clubber D, the Combat G. Please make sure you subscribe to Ballin' Buds, BALLANDBUDS, and whether you're watching this live or on the replay, please hit that like button. It really helps us out in the algorithm to boost us to more fans and eyes, get us out there. We really appreciate it. It is free to you to hit that like button, but it is so invaluable to us, and it really celebrates our hard work. We're at in VA. I'm from the DMV, right outside DC. So my parents stay in Woodbridge. Pretty much all my friends, Woodbridge, Lorton, Dumfries, Springfield, Manassas, Manasshole area. I stay on that side of VA, but I also went to the University of Maryland, so I got all my peoples in College Park, Hyattsville, Baltimore, Ellicott City, Columbia, and as well all my peoples in DC, north, south, east, west, where you're coming from. All of my people from Berry Farms to Anacostia, all my folks out in DC. Love y'all. All right, so y'all catch me in the DMV. I'll be in Vegas Friday and Saturday. I'll be in the DMV Sunday to Thursday. Thursday, I fly out to Costa Rica. Your boy going to Costa Rica because I got to be like Stella. I got to get my groove back. Your boy been on a little bit of a rough patch when it comes to some certain different things in the life. And Costa Rica, the sun, the beach, the beautiful Costa Rican ladies are going to solve all of my issues. Oh, I can't wait. I'm going to be like Ric Flair in the loving of some Costa Rican ladies next weekend. I cannot wait. What am I going to be doing, Rick? Tell them.
You and I are limousine ride, jet flying, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, son of a gun. Woo, 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 woo.
Yes. Thank you, Rick. Thank you. Yes, happy birthday to you. You too. That's right. The 17th. I can't tell you when mine is because I don't want other people to know. But just know it is right next to yours, give or take. It's on the weekend there. Let's just say. I don't want anybody to know my government information. Birthday weekend for me and Rock Chalk. Let's go. Everybody celebrate our happy birthdays. After Costa Rica, by the way, I come back to Virginia for another week. Clubber D's birthday is that first weekend in May, so we're going to celebrate that. And then I'm going to Puerto Rico for 2 weeks to see the family, to see the grandmothers, the uncles, the aunts, the cousins. So y'all, the next 5 weeks, Vegas, DC, Costa Rica, Virginia, Puerto Rico, and back to Nashville. Jet setting, I'm like Leonardo DiCaprio. You better catch me if you can, suckers. Shout out to you and the wifey. Safe travels to San Diego. My dad says it's a wonderful, beautiful place. I need to check it out sometime. Yes, looking forward to WrestleMania. Oh, shout out to my uncle tuning in. Bendición, tío. I will see you in about 3 weeks, tío. Bendición. I love you. Yes. Oh, you know what, Bianca? Though, check this. Oh, bring down the signs. Look at this bad boy. Look at what I got here. One day, I will have to tell the story of how I got this. You can see it's autographed by Rick up there at the top. I wish he would have autographed it in gold or blue instead of gray, but gray is where all the accoutrements are made out of. It says, Nature Boy, Ric Flair, 16 times. This is from Ric Flair's last match that was here in Nashville a couple years ago. And I'll have to tell the story sometime. But shout out my boys Conan, Disco Inferno, and Joe Feeney, the Keep It at 100 podcast. If you like professional wrestling, check out Keep It at 100. Conan and Disco, both former WCW and WWF professional wrestlers. Hilarious podcast. But also Joe Feeney is their producer. Shout out my boy Joe. He came out to Nashville, and we went to Ric Flair's last match together. Joe took me backstage. I got to meet all the wrestlers and everything. And while we did that, we snuck out for the last match, for Rick's match, and we snuck into the front row, found a couple of empty seats. I happened to be sitting one with this commemorative chair, and I think at this point, the statute of limitations probably expired, although I don't think you get in trouble for stealing a chair. I definitely stole that chair from the spot I was sitting in, so I hope nobody was sitting there. Although if somebody was sitting there and they left for the last match, for Ric Flair's last match, and that's what you paid for, you deserve to get your seat taken. I definitely did steal that seat. And I am not ashamed whatsoever. Not ashamed that I stole that at all. Not ashamed. Not ashamed. Sorry, I'm just not. I'm not. I would feel bad if it was somebody's chair. But again, if you paid to go see Ric Flair's last show and you sat front row, which was very expensive, and you decided to leave for the last match and didn't come back the whole time because no one told me to move, you deserve to have your chair taken. I'm not going to feel bad about it. I'll ask for forgiveness later. Keep it moving. Anyways, and then I met Rick the next year at an autograph show, and I got him to autograph it. I was hoping to go see him this year, but me and my dad ended up going to Memphis instead. So once they come this year, I'm going to go and get him to autograph it again. And get him to do it in gold this time. Oh, I know. I need a robe. That would be so great if I could have a robe. That would be awesome. Thank you. Yes. Prayers up. Yeah, sometimes in life you just got to take what you want. Right? Whatever. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take what I want, and that's taking my ass to the kids' ouch to go take some flight. That being said, my friends, thank you again for tuning in for 3 hours and 20 minutes. What's wrong with you heathens? Am I that good? Or are y'all that bored? Or y'all really have nothing to do? I don't know, but I love you, and you love me, and we are a happy family, Barney style. Go out, be safe, be blessed, love each other, be kind to each other. I appreciate it, Pops, and spread love the Omar way. Holla, 5,000.
He's with the millions.
It's that world heavyweight float. Championship belt wrapped around my waist, yo. I got that Ric Flair figure float. Slam you on the pavement, that's why they call me Street Pro. Create heat on beat close. Like Jordan after the second time he three-peated, folks. Get ready, set, let's go. Fight toe to toe, release the flow created by this mic pro. Lights, camera, get low. Action packed, back to back. In fact, this monster will grow. Y'all better let him know. Man with the master plan, and you have no need to know. You came prepared, now get ready for the show.
Sports Professor. Oh!